What's happening, man? I don't know what the hell happened to my headphones, man. I don't know what happened to my headphones. That's all right. There's always this other pack, man. I always got a new pack on deck. Thank God. We have to plan for shit like this. Plan for things to go wrong, man. Whatever that saying say. Uh, mm. Whew. What's happening, everybody? What's happening? Wonder what Diddy doing tonight, man. Diddy thinking like I can tell you what Diddy doing tonight. He's thinking of his life. He's thinking about all the things he did, man. He's thinking about how he got here. He finally got a chance to slow down, man. This is his first chance to probably be to slow down and to sit and to think. And he probably like, wow, I'm really in this motherfucker. I am really in this bed. I'm really here sitting here in prison. I mean, in jail. I'm really sitting here in jail. Like, wow. I'm really sitting here in prison. That's what he's thinking. He's sitting there like, wow. That's what he's thinking, man. He's thinking about everything. He's scared. I don't give a fuck what you say. That nigga scared. You gonna be scared. It's a new experience. It's a new experience. He's scared as a motherfucker. He's shook. And niggas can probably tell he's scared. In there, they can probably tell he's scared. He's scared though. He asking a lot of questions too. He asking guards questions. He asking inmates questions. He's scared as hell, man. This shit is real. This shit is real. He ain't prayed this much. He ain't never prayed this much in his whole fucking life. Salute to Alexander Barron, man. He says, I'm only a poor glider who rents an apartment, but I know a man in New York who owns 2 houses and can afford a lot more. Salute to you, Alexander Barron, man. Your contributions are greatly appreciated, man. Yeah, man. All the money in the world, man. He offered that judge $50 million. He said, I'll give you a $50 million package if you let me out this motherfucker. Judge said no. All the money in the world. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty back together again. Press 1. All the money in the world, man. Can't save his ass now. All the money in the world can't save him right now. Yeah, and listen. Apparently he liked doing strange stuff, man. He into all that stuff, man. Apparently he's into some of that strange stuff, man. Wow. Talk about a fall. A fall from grace, man. They gave his ass the key to the city last year, man. They gave his ass the key to the city.
Hey, I'm Hallie, and tonight we are learning in just the last few minutes that a federal judge is now refusing to grant Sean Diddy Combs bail. Instead, he's going straight to jail tonight after Diddy pleaded not guilty to charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. I want to show you some of these brand new court sketches coming into us, like literally in the last 90 seconds. This is Combs in court after prosecutors arrested him at a hotel in Manhattan. It's where he's apparently been living for weeks, according to what a person familiar with the move tells NBC News. All of it a tipping point now in that sprawling federal investigation into the superstar's alleged years of sex crimes dating back to 2009. As we're just getting in some new and deeply disturbing details about the allegations against him. What looks like a massive criminal operation, allegedly, at least 50 victims and witnesses so far. And at the center of it, these hours and days long sex acts known as, in their words, freak offs that Combs supposedly orchestrated to abuse his victims.
Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak offs. And he often electronically recorded them.
Prosecutors say Combs punched and kicked his victims to try to keep them under control. He'd also, they say, filled them up with drugs like ketamine and ecstasy for long periods of time, even using incriminating records to try to manipulate his victims. Prosecutors say they discovered this wide range of evidence against Combs in several raids. They found things, they say, like AR-15s, narcotics, more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricants. We should note here that an attorney for Combs says that he, I'm quoting here, will fight the...
That's kind of weird, man. That 1,000 bottles of baby oil, man. 1,000 bottles of baby oil? $1,000 bottles of baby oil. That's a lot of baby oil, man. He wanted to make sure, man, if there was like if there was like a Y2K situation, or we all had to hunker down. He was a baby oil prepper, man. It was a baby oil prepper. Jeez, man.
This with all of his energy. His team is already planning to appeal the bail ruling, meaning they will be back in court tomorrow, as Combs has, as we mentioned, pleaded not guilty. We've got team coverage, Laura Jarrett, standing by with the legal analysis piece of it. But I want to start outside court with Julia Ainsley, because, Julia, this went fairly late into the day. I know you've been at the courthouse as a judge, as we've just learned, is denying this request for bail. Explain why that is and what else we've learned today.
Yeah, that's right. We were in there for about 2 hours as the Justice Department from the Southern District of New York laid out their case, very similar to what you saw in the indictment, saying why he should not be released, because they say that he is a flight risk, he could leave the country, and also that he has a history of obstructing justice. They also pointed to how serious these crimes were, that with previous allegations of sex trafficking like R. Kelly and Jeffrey Epstein, the judges also denied bail in that case. But his defense laid out a very lengthy rebuttal to all of that. We heard them say that this is different from Jeffrey Epstein and R. Kelly because there are no minors being alleged in the indictment here. They also say that these acts were consensual, and they point to victim number one, who's named over and over again, yes, who they say is someone within a 10-year relationship with Combs that was toxic but consensual. They said that this person actually tried to sell this same story as book rights to Combs to try to get it out of the media's eye, but instead when he refused, then this civil lawsuit came up. But the judge ultimately said that he could not be released because he is a danger, he has a history of substance abuse and anger issues, and she really drilled down on the fact that after those civil allegations came out last November, he talked to multiple women who he knew.
Yo, that looked more like R. Kelly than Diddy, man. Need to fire this artist, man. This courtroom artist need to be fired, man. He got his black celebrities freaks mixed up, man. That don't look nothing like Diddy.
During that period, and who he apparently tried to change their narrative so they wouldn't go forward.
That don't look like Diddy either, man. That don't look like Diddy either, man. I look like one of them Haitians, man, and eating them ducks, man.
And continue testifying or being witnesses to some of these acts that were alleged in the civil complaint and then were again put in the indictment today. And so she said in order to keep that from happening and really to end sex trafficking, since that can happen behind closed doors, it was best to keep him detained without bond.
Julia, it is, I think for a lot of folks, they will find this stunning considering that Diddy, right, Sean Combs, has been previously one of the most successful music superstars in the world. Just a year ago, he was handed a key to New York City. Now here we are after months of this being out in the public, these allegations being made public, his denials. He's potentially facing 15 years to life in prison. What does the timeline look like here?
Well, we understand that tomorrow they'll try to appeal the judge's decision. His defense will do that tomorrow at 3:30. They'll meet again next week for a conference, and then perhaps we'll be looking at a trial early next year. But Hallie, I have to say what you said there was also striking. I mean, I watched him today sitting there very humbly in court in a black T-shirt, nodding along with his defense, otherwise just looking very stoic, straight ahead at the judge. It's hard to imagine this is the same man, but the timeline is also staggering. It's one thing to think, oh, that was something that happened a long time ago, but the prosecution today said that these acts, what they're calling sex trafficking and coercion, all continued up until this year, Hallie, and started as far back as 2009. So this was not a brief window.
Julia Ainsley live for us there outside court in New York. Can you just give a sense really quickly, Julia, before I let you go? Is it just a scene there? I mean, I have to imagine, given who Sean Combs is, it is just a crush of cameras, a crush of people.
It is. It's been really crowded today. And there have been people who've been driving by, sometimes screaming, "Free Diddy." Someone else stood up earlier and said Tupac would be ashamed of Diddy. It's been a lot of people, a lot of public interest here. I will say the court wasn't as crowded as I thought, but still nearly full, and also full of his friends and family who came out.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the end.
A lot going on. Lot going on. Man. Big flaw.
And we're back with some breaking news. A federal detention hearing for Sean Diddy Combs has just ended, and CNN's Kara Scannell is outside the courthouse in New York. Kara, obviously, this is a huge case. What just happened?
Yeah, Jake. So the magistrate judge overseeing this hearing today has remanded Sean Diddy Combs into custody after he was charged with that sex trafficking case. He was let out of the courtroom by the U.S. Marshals, and he will be held in federal detention as this case moves forward. Now, this followed a lengthy hearing with both prosecutors and Diddy's attorneys, arguing reasons why he should be kept behind bars and why he should be released. Diddy's lawyers saying that he has taken voluntary steps, including turning over his passport to his lawyers, saying he would report any of his movements to prosecutors. But the judge finding that that was just not enough. She said, "My concern is that this is a crime that happened behind closed doors, even when pretrial services is monitoring." So she said there was nothing that his lawyers had offered that made her feel comfortable that he would return to this courthouse for subsequent court hearings and for a trial. She said that it was both his substance abuse and the fact that some of this physical abuse that's been alleged occurred when he was using drugs and alcohol, that was the reason why she couldn't trust that he would not commit any additional crimes while he was left on bail. So Sean Diddy Combs is not going to be walking out this door. He is in federal custody, where he will be unless his lawyers are able to convince a different judge to release him.
Let's bring in criminal defense attorney Stacey Schneider. And Stacey, you say today's indictment reads like a mob indictment. What was most shocking to you of all these allegations?
Yeah, the fact, Jake, that the government in this indictment presented evidence alleging that Sean Combs was running a criminal enterprise, and they actually named it in the indictment, the Combs Enterprise. And they said that this enterprise consisted of him as the alleged leader, his employees, assistants, staff, allegedly, that were able to procure women and alleged male sex workers to engage in performances for his own sexual gratification. Where it differs from a mob indictment, it has all the elements of putting together this racketeering allegation of all these moving pieces using resources from his businesses. But the fact that this is about an allegation of sexual gratification being accomplished by alleged human trafficking, it's one of the most unique indictments I've ever seen in this area, in the area of sex crimes, because the government isn't actually prosecuting the sex crimes other than the human trafficking or the sex trafficking. They're not prosecuting any type of alleged sexual abuse to women, although that's part of this racketeering scheme. But the actual charges are racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transporting individuals over state lines to engage in prostitution. The reasoning around all of this, his alleged motivation as presented in that indictment by the government is for his own personal gratification. And that's just the strangest type of indictment I've ever seen. But I agree with you. This indictment reads, it's very disturbing. The facts presented are out of, a very bad Hollywood story. And a lot of the evidence, alleged evidence, that's been gathered in this case was from those two raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles. And the indictment names the things seized that he allegedly made videos of these sexual performances that have been named freak-offs. And there seems to be a ton of evidence allegedly tying this scheme together. So it's an interesting way of prosecuting it, but I understand why they did it that way.
So what did you make of what Elizabeth Wagmeister just reported? And obviously, Sean Diddy Combs and his attorneys they're going to get their day in court. But the idea that the government, in their characterization, does not say that anybody did any of these things non-consensually. What do you make of that?
I make of that as being a big flaw already in the government's case, which the defense was quick to point out. Even if he was engaging in this alleged conduct, there was no allegation or no statement in that indictment saying that any of these alleged victims or alleged witnesses willingly participated in some of these acts that people find offensive, that are sound to be offensive. And that's a very important part of the case. What was the consent? But there are enough charges here where outside of what the alleged victims are going to say about how he was using the resources allegedly from his enterprises, his businesses, his well-known bad boy entertainment, his clothing line resources, his liquor line resources. Allegedly, there were funds used from that resources to engage in this alleged prostitution activity across state lines. And that's why it's a federal case, because it's across straight lines. So there are some problems that the defense has brought up originally, but it seems like just from reading this 14-page indictment that there is enough physical evidence to perhaps get a conviction in this case. We shall see. These are allegations.
So the Office of the Southern District of New York seems awfully confident about their ability to handle the scope and complexity of the case. But still, why do you think it took them so long for them to go after Combs, considering they allege his crimes have been going on for more than a decade?
My theory is that the government had an easy time putting together this final prosecution because of all the civil actions existing against Sean Combs right now. The case with Cassie, which that video was shown, his former girlfriend, where he was seen assaulting her. It looked like certainly that he was assaulting her on video. I think the government and investigators were able to accumulate all this easy evidence that was just handed to them from the attorneys who prepared the civil cases that are now pending against him. I think things just started piling up, and eventually Sean Combs got to a place where his luck ran out, and therefore he was indicted and arraigned.
Stacey Schneider, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Let's go ahead and listen to the U.S.
Morning,
Attorney
everyone.
for New York.
Man. Wow. There's some holes in this case, though. There's some holes in this case. There's some holes. There's some holes in this case, man. Yeah, some holes and some holes, man. Shout out to Main TV, man. I mean, he got a chance, man. Admit that this stuff is not consensual, that the stuff wasn't non-consensual, that people participated in that stuff under their own free will. Only problem is all that evidence, man. It's so much evidence that they got, man. They were able to get from his homes, man. He kept so much stuff, man, over the years. Yeah, he's in deep shit. Getting out of this is going to be a miracle, man. It's going to take a miracle, man, to get out of this one.
I think they have the bigger fish.
Don't matter. Don't matter if they have the bigger fish.
I'm not saying he's going to get out of it, but I'm just saying I think they have the bigger fish too.
I mean, they all, like, you gotta understand, like, in cases like this, there's always after a bigger. It's like, yo, you got some information, but they'll still prosecute you though. They'll just prosecute you and get you, and if like, say Diddy hold water, They'll be fine with that. This is a big enough fish, man.
That's a fact.
The prosecutor will sleep like a baby knowing that, like, okay, all we got was Diddy. Cool.
Right?
They got, I mean, R. Kelly's in prison. Harvey Weinstein's in prison. Bill Cosby got out. Bill Cosby got out by a miracle, man. It's just, listen, we've seen so many of these guys go down, man. It's not going to be, it's not like, it ain't no conspiracy, man. It's like, yo,
None at all. None at all.
you going down, bro. And it's just crazy, man. Diddy may do what? Now, I don't think he will get a life sentence, man, but he can get up to 15 years for some shit and life for other shit. Unbelievable, man.
My question to you is, do you think that he may fold if they ask him to implicate someone else?
I think he'll get. I think will Diddy snitch? Yeah,
If they
most
ask him
likely.
to snitch.
Yeah,
Think he
definitely.
gonna
Most
snitch?
likely. Yeah, to get out of this shit. Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. To get out of this,
I don't think he. Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. Let me let y'all hear the indictment, man.
What stuck him is that
I'm the U.S. attorney here in the Southern District of New York. Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution. The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. As alleged in the indictment, to carry out this conduct, Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs, and that Combs hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by their hair. On one occasion in March of 2016, that conduct was captured on video and later reported in the media. Specifically, Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a victim in a Los Angeles hotel when the victim was attempting to flee. As alleged, these assaults often resulted in injuries to the victims, which took days or weeks to heal. In addition to the violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims. And the indictment alleges that he maintained control over the victims in several ways, including by giving them drugs, by giving and threatening to take away financial support or housing, by promising them career opportunities, by monitoring their whereabouts, and even by dictating their physical appearance. Because of all of this, the indictment alleges that the victims did not believe they could refuse Combs without risking their security or facing more abuse. The indictment also alleges other acts of violence undertaken by Combs and others, including violence against witnesses to his abuse, kidnapping, and arson. The indictment alleges that on more than one occasion, Combs carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten victims and witnesses. Now, Combs did not do this all on his own. As I mentioned, Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way. Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff. The indictment alleges that those individuals facilitated the freak-offs. They booked the hotel rooms and stocked them with the supplies, including drugs, baby oil, personal lubricant, extra linens, and lighting. When the hotel rooms got damaged, they helped clean it up. They arranged for victims and commercial sex workers to travel for the freak-offs, and they delivered large quantities of cash to Combs to pay for the commercial sex workers. The indictment also alleges that they helped Combs cover up his crimes. During the March 2016 incident at the LA hotel that I mentioned earlier, a member of the hotel security staff intervened, and Combs attempted to bribe the staff member with a stack of cash to make sure that what happened was kept quiet. And as the indictment alleges, in late 2023, after public allegations were made about Combs's crimes, he and others pressured witnesses and victims to stay silent, including by making phone calls to witnesses and victims and giving them a false narrative of what they had experienced. And as alleged, Combs used others to help conceal his abuse by monitoring and preventing victims from leaving a location in order to hide their injuries, or by locating and contacting a victim who had attempted to flee. As part of this investigation, in March of this year, special agents from HSI executed search warrants at Combs's residences in Miami and Los Angeles. They also executed a warrant for Combs's electronic devices. During those searches, agents seized evidence of the crimes charged in this indictment. They seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s and a large capacity drum magazine. They also seized evidence of the freak-offs, electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs with multiple victims. And they seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs, more than 1,000 bottles altogether. Here are some of the items that we recovered during the searches. As you can see here, this is a drum magazine, large capacity, and it contains, I believe, 59 rounds. I mentioned as well, we recovered 3 AR-15s. This is a close-up shot of one of the AR-15s, and you can see right here, the serial number has been thoroughly defaced. Another picture of more ammunition and parts of 2 AR-15s right there. Now, I want to be clear about 2 things. First, this office is determined to investigate and prosecute anyone who engages in sex trafficking, no matter how powerful or wealthy or famous you may be. No one should doubt our commitment on that. A year ago, Sean Combs stood in Times Square and was handed a key to New York City. Today, he's been indicted and will face justice in the Southern District of New York. Second, we are not done. This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly. Anyone with information can call 1-877.
Wow, we're not done. We're not done.
And
Stevie J, this one, that one, all you niggas that was
I'll be right
around.
back.
Huh? What's that? All these.
I'll be right back.
All these people that that's in the mix, you might want to come forward and make an arrangement with us, man, and you know what I'm saying, so that we don't. Wow, he said quickly too. Come around quickly, cause we ain't. Woo.
So it's confirmed that he was cracking Stevie J open too.
I don't know if he was cracking Stevie J, but Stevie J was in there like some sex act. That dude Rod said Diddy showed him a video of Stevie J boinking a white dude, man, without a condom and shit. He was getting busy and shit, and he used that to kind of groom the dude. Like, look, even Stevie J doing it, man. You know what I'm saying?
So he was using that to say if Stevie J was doing it, it ain't that bad. Like,
yeah, like it's like, yeah, this is the thing. Everybody does this. This is Hollywood, man. That's the same thing that Hassan Campbell said that African Bambaataa was doing. He showed him a book of all the gangsters in the hood, with their shit out, because he had a big book with Polaroids of all the gangsters in the hood that he had molested. He would show his new victims that, like, yeah, look, this so this killer, and look at this motherfucking T-Bone, man. Look, I got them. They with all this stuff. They do this stuff too, man.
I was stying that nigga too. I was stying T-Bone up and Ray Ray.
Exactly. So it's like, yeah, man, this is normal, man. All your heroes, all your hoods, all your heroes is with this shit, man.
It's going to be worse. They were talking about there's no minors in the indictment apparently. They were talking about minors before, weren't they?
Yeah, there's no minors in this, but that's just yet. That's as of yet.
Why you think he needed 1,000 bottles of baby oil?
He ain't want to run out, man. In the middle of the night, man, you got to run to the fucking drugstore to get some baby oil. You know how annoying that is, man.
I ain't know niggas was really on that baby oil shit till I started really talking to my homies. And then all them niggas was like, yeah, baby oil kings out here.
Really?
Yeah. I know a couple homies that's like, yeah, I always baby oil them cakes down before I crack them.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's probably like a fetish or something like that.
Yeah, I thought that was just some porn shit. Like, that they have a movie like Greasy Backyard Booty Part 85 or some shit.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you hear about the big sex scandal here?
The what?
There's a big scandal here.
Nah, what is it?
Hugh Edwards, you haven't heard of him?
Hugh Edwards?
No, you haven't heard of it there. It's massive here.
I know that. Is he that actor that used to do Hugh?
No, he's white, Welsh. BBC.
BBC? What the hell
you talking? Whoa, what?
You haven't heard of it? Look him up on Google. It's massive here. That's all they're talking about.
The hell are you talking
about,
man? And the King's English is tough.
Baby, see.
Yeah, right. Baby, see, man, what the
No,
fuck?
look him up. It's massive. That's all they're talking about.
What's his name?
Yo, what?
What's his name? I don't want to see nothing that I don't want to see nothing I don't want to see. You
It's
know.
massive, Mike.
HUW, Hugh Edwards. It was the bloke who announced the death of the Queen.
Yo, when I hear like Doug Sunman from the UK, it just doesn't feel right, you know?
Yeah.
King David.
Yeah.
I'm the King David.
Yeah, the accent, they could be a stone cold fucking stepper,
Right.
dog. The accent just throw me off every time.
Yeah, me too.
You're
'Cause
the one who has the accent. I haven't got an accent.
Because I'm used to like aggressive talking Sunman, you know? Oh, King David, you ass a bitch. I'm my dead bitch. I just the UK, I just can't see it, Chief. I'm sorry, man. But my respects nonetheless.
So they said, I still don't know what he did, man. This dude, Hugh Edwards, he a white dude.
Yeah, he was looking at pictures he shouldn't have been doing and paying some teenage kid to pose nude for him. 35 grand he paid him.
Oh, he was child pornography. Okay, yeah, that's
who did that act?
The Hugh Edwards, this English guy, man.
What does he do?
Well,
Is he
not
an
English.
actor?
Well,
I've never heard of him.
Is he an author? What does he do?
He big over there, man. He like an actor.
he was one of our biggest talking heads.
Oh,
He
so
was.
he's
Oh,
like
Pierce. He like Pierce. Pierce Morgan.
Wow, that's crazy. That's hilarious.
More straight news than comment.
Oh wow. So what does that mean for the UK? Like, what's going to happen to him?
He got a suspended sentence.
So is he going to prison or?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
He's playing a mental health card.
Well, the UK is the place. What do they call it? MAPs?
7.
Sorry?
Yeah, man. Shout out to Hugh, man. Damn, Diddy, man.
So,
Diddler.
you think any of these charges gonna stick?
He's cut.
I think any of these charges, yeah. I mean, I think he's in deep shit, man. I think that the lady said it was a flaw in the case because the acts were consensual, but that don't mean he getting off though. My problem is tomorrow when he go for his bail review, if he don't get bail, that's gonna be a terrible sign.
Oh, he's not. I guarantee you, when they raided his home, they found shit. They found evidence. I guarantee.
In this country, prostitution.
Hell yeah.
In this country, prostitution is a victimless crime. Soliciting is illegal, and 2 women working under the same roof is a brothel, but otherwise it's not illegal.
I mean, but they're trying to get them on like trafficking prostitutes across state lines and shit like that too.
Trafficking
kids too, right? I mean,
it's a youth. It's a you know it's. I mean, a guy pulls up at a red light district. A woman gets in his car. They drive around the corner. She performs a sexual act on him. She's been trafficked. It's a victim narrative trafficking.
Yeah,
I don't
know how much these people are victims, but
I don't like the fact that pimping hoes has become human trafficking in the last like 10 years. Like all that shit used to just be pimping and pandering and shit.
Well, some of it is sex trafficking though.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it all is sex trafficking. If you're a real pimp,
facts. Because I mean, look. Apparently, ain't no bigger pimps than the Venezuelans, though. Apparently they do.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mexicans don't play either.
Oh,
hey,
but pimping though, I never really heard Mexicans pimp. Like the brothers pimp. The brothers got it for the pimping.
Langley Park, Maryland.
The hombreros the Mexican hombreros be pimping. I never really seen that like that.
Not like obviously like with a feather hat, but like pimping like.
Yeah. Got bitches.
They bring these girls over the border and they work.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, look, everybody pimps, right? Like the Tigers pimp, but what I'm saying is, evidently the Venezuelans got it like that, and we all know the brothers pimping. The brothers got it from the pimping chief.
But isn't it actually legal in a lot of those places to do it?
Where, Venezuela?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to specifically be there, but
I doubt it's illegal over there.
In some countries in Europe, it's legal.
Hey, don't forget that Diddy's defense was also that, it's normal in Hollywood. The industry standard is
how about that?
trafficking. So
I bet it's
there's no big deal.
Kids.
Damn sure did say
that. That is fair, though. I mean,
the whole sex acts
They're
and
just
everything.
following the rules.
That is true. They'd be doing weird shit in Hollywood.
Yeah, but here's the problem, though. Like, violence. Once you throw violence into the mix, that's really what's going to get him, man. That takes
guns and drugs.
Get him. Violence, drugs. Yeah.
What's the violence that you speaking of?
That he, when people didn't do what he wanted, he physically assaulted them. He
they say he even offed a few people.
Yeah, they said that. They like this what they got now is not everything they're gonna have, because once people start cooperating, they'll be able to corroborate and confirm other things that they think they know, but they can't come forward with because they don't have enough evidence.
Right.
Let me see his lawyer. His lawyer right
what
here.
Prosecutors were arguing is not only does your client pose a flight risk, because obviously he's incredibly wealthy, has access to planes and a lot of staff, even though you said he turned over his passport to you months ago. They were also worried about him being able to interfere with witnesses and calling them. And so I guess the question is, how do you assure the court that that won't happen if prosecutors are saying this is someone who's attempted to bribe security staff and has already threatened and interfered with witnesses?
So I think the most important thing, even more important than the passport, is that Mr. Combs came to New York on September 5th. As soon as we realized that this indictment was going to be coming down in a matter of weeks, maybe months, but sometime soon, Mr. Combs got on a plane, left his home in Florida, flew to New York. I called the prosecutors myself. I said, Mr. Combs is in New York. Do you want to know where he is? If you want to know where he is, I'll tell you where he is. But he wants to surrender. He's here to surrender. They didn't want him to surrender, because if he surrenders, they don't get to tell the judge that he's a flight risk and he's a danger. Because who, as a danger and a flight risk, would fly to New York and surrender?
They want to keep investigating
didn't want him to
him.
surrender.
So since September 5th, you had known, you expected it was likely he was going to formally face charges.
So I really knew he was formally going to face charges on March 25th, the day of the searches, when Homeland Security searched his Los Angeles home, his Miami home, and his airplane. I knew that day by looking at the search warrants. I mean, I've been doing this for a while. This is not my first or 100th rodeo, that this was going to come as a matter of time. What I realized in early September is that it was coming soon. And so it was time for Mr. Combs to come to New York, which he did. And let me just point out one very important thing. The prosecutors are seizing on something that happened 8 years ago. You know, this video that we've all seen, and it's a bad video for Mr. Combs, and he said so himself when he gave his apology. This is 8 years ago, and the prosecutors are talking about him bribing a hotel security worker. There was no criminal investigation. This was just a matter of personal embarrassment, because he and the person in the video were in the midst of a 10-year relationship that was difficult at times, that was toxic at times, but it was mutually so. And this whole notion that Mr. Combs is forcing drugs on someone is just nonsensical, and it's going to prove to not be true.
Well, on that video, he initially denied the allegations when his then girlfriend, who is in that video, filed a lawsuit last fall. And we have that video. I should note, CNN was the first outlet to exclusively report on it. He denied that happened when she filed it in a complaint. And then when the video came out is when he apologized for it.
So I wasn't his lawyer back then. So I don't think he denied. I mean, I think the lawyers were the ones mostly making the denials. I think they were denying sex crimes. I mean, because at the end of the day, the gravamen of that civil complaint wasn't a misdemeanor assault, which is what you see on that video. Not minimizing it, but it's a misdemeanor assault.
It's not a
What
felony?
the gravamen of the complaint was sex crimes, and he denied that, and he still does.
Really?
Well, and you're saying that this is all just about that one relationship, but when you read through the indictment, they say that there's not just one victim. They say there's multiple victims here today. And what I heard described was they said they have 50 witnesses or victims.
Yeah, I think it's 49 witnesses and one victim. I think if you broke it down, and I say that because count 2, which is the sex trafficking count, has victim number 1, and there is no victim number 2 anywhere in the indictment.
So you're saying that there are not other women, because what they were essentially arguing here is that he coerced and forced women into sex acts by using physical force, financial pressure, emotional abuse, and narcotics for what they described as these freak-off sessions. They saying that he self-described them as that.
Yeah, there's one victim in the indictment. That the charging
But one
document.
victim does count, right?
No, of course, but I'm just not. It's not 50. I mean, what they did, and it's a little too cute, is it's 50 witnesses or victims. Well, it's one victim. That's all that's in the indictment.
Our reporter who was in the courtroom today said that he appeared to have a stunned expression on his face. Was he surprised that he was arrested last night?
No, he definitely was not. I mean, I told him myself in early September, you are going to be arrested soon, and you're going to be charged with racketeering, and you're going to be charged with sex trafficking. So come to New York. It wasn't a long conversation. He agreed. So we knew this was coming. And in fact, we offered that he would turn himself in.
So if there are these witnesses and victims, and as you're saying that you believe it's one victim and 49 witnesses who saw this behavior, that's pretty powerful, though, to have that many people who have, if they go to court and argue that they witnessed this behavior by your client.
Well,
what's your defense against that going to be?
So my defense is very well established. I interviewed myself the different men who were being brought sort of into Mr. Combs and this person's intimate situation. I've flown around the country. I've interviewed a large number of them. There's not the slightest inkling, according to the interviews that I've done, of anything that's coercive, non-consensual. Nobody was too drunk. Nobody was too high. These were adults in a relationship. This is a 10-year relationship. We can't forget that. This is a 10-year relationship. And it was adults and consensual, and everybody who was there wanted to be there. So I feel very confident in our position.
You said you interviewed the men, but what about the women?
I haven't interviewed the woman. The woman's not available to me. She's presumably a grand jury witness, and we would not, we cannot try to interview a grand jury witness.
And you don't think that there are any other women who are going to say that they were coerced into this, given drugs, and essentially as prosecutors were saying that that's what kept them compliant?
So there are a lot of women in these civil cases. There's been a mountain of civil cases ever since the civil case that was filed in November. I don't see them as victims in the indictment. That's my point.
And so when you talk about that video of Cassie Ventura, that was his then girlfriend, in the video, I mean, just when you saw that, you said it's a bad video. It's pretty difficult to watch.
It is, no question. So let me tell you what happened.
Will that be used as evidence in court, do you think?
100%.
You can see what happened.
So what I said in court today, and I'll say it again here, is the two of them were in a hotel. It was just the two of them in a hotel room. She found out that he was seeing someone else. She was going through his phone. She hit him in the head with his own phone. And then she walks into the hallway with two bags. One of the bags has all of his clothing taken from him, which is why he runs out in a towel. So this isn't her fleeing from one of these freak-offs. Why would she take his clothing? That's not what it is. And when the evidence comes out, this is going to be completely different than the government's portrayed it.
But on this video, and I just want to show that again now, how do you defend against allegations that he hit, kicked, and dragged women when he's on video hitting, kicking, and dragging a woman?
Sure, he's not charged with hitting, kicking, and dragging a woman. He's charged with sex trafficking, and he didn't traffic anybody.
But he's charged with a conspiracy here where he was using physical abuse, emotional abuse, financial pressure, as prosecutors allege, to keep these women in his fold. Maybe just Cassie Ventura, but keeping these women in the fold.
Cassie Ventura lived by herself. She had her own house. She had a family. She had a career. And he was seeing another woman at the time. He wasn't around a lot. She could have done whatever she wanted to do. All of these allegations of, I was forced, I was coerced, I had to stay, are nonsense. And it's going to be proven to be so.
That video in the indictment, it alleges that your client paid hotel staff $50,000 to make it disappear from the hotel surveillance system. Did he pay off the hotel staff?
Not that I know of. I know that's an allegation. I don't know that is true. What I was concerned about when I heard about this allegation is whether there was an allegation that there was some sort of law enforcement investigation pending, because then that would be a crime. But there was none. And so this is not a crime.
You talked about, you said you're portraying this as adults who were at these events that wanted to be, I shouldn't even call them events. That's not certainly how anyone else would label it, but that they wanted to be there. But they also allege that they were recorded and essentially used as blackmail. Is that not true?
That's not true. That's not true.
How can you prove that when they have electronic evidence that, as they argue, over 90 cell phones, laptops, iCloud storage accounts, 30 electronic and storage devices, hard drives, thumb drives?
Yeah.
You're not worried about that?
No, because if they had it, they would have put it in the indictment. And it's not in the indictment.
When it comes to your client's credibility, I think people will
charge him
look
again.
at what he said last fall. And it's not just his attorneys. I mean, he pays those attorneys. They're speaking on his behalf. They're the ones calling her claims baseless and ridiculous. And when you read the indictment today, they line up with what she alleged in that lawsuit last fall.
If the claim is that he had unwanted sex with her, that claim is baseless. And it will be proven to be baseless when we have a trial.
But the claim is obviously the conspiracy, the racketeering. It's much larger than just that, obviously, as you know.
It is, but the government wants it to be. But count 2, which is the sex trafficking count, relates to one person and one person alone. All of this talk of dozens of victims and 50 witnesses, if they had that, if they really had it, it would be in the indictment.
Wow, I like it. Hey, listen.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining.
He's still lying.
It's me.
Damn.
What
It don't matter if he's lying. It doesn't matter if he's lying.
What you can prove?
Yeah, he's a defense attorney, man. I've been on trial before, and I had a Juice Crew lawyer, man. John Zwirling, man. Very good lawyer out of Northern Virginia, man. He represented John Muhammad, before John Muhammad decided to defend himself. You know, the DC sniper. Listen, Juice Crew lawyers, I've been around them. I've seen them at work.
Guides at this shit.
Yeah,
What happened?
He would
What
not.
happened
Hold on. He would not be doing this interview if he was worried. Let's just say that. He would not be. I mean, it's too risky. You know what I'm saying? It's too risky to do an interview like this with CNN about the facts of the case.
I kind of see that.
What happened to the DC sniper?
But I don't think he's helping. I don't think this is helping his case.
I think that this right here, I think he knows that it doesn't matter. I think his lawyer thinks that the case is weak. I think they think this case is weak as hell, and they gonna have no problem beating it. If he thought this case was strong, he would not be doing an interview with CNN right now. Because
that's probable. That's highly likely. But he's still lying about the misdemeanor. That seems pretty.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, he's a defense attorney. He would represent. You know, if somebody went and shot 100 people in Times Square, and they called his law office and was like, "Hey man, can you defend me?" He would show up in court and defend that person. He's a defense attorney.
Right, but I don't think it's a misdemeanor. I think it's clearly felonious.
But that's not the point that Ike is making, though.
Yeah, he's a defense attorney. He defends bad people all the time. Terrible people.
I mean, just on principle, I don't see going on the news on fucking CNN. I just don't think if my lawyer did that, even if it was a weak case.
Right, that's what, and that tells you that lets you know that he thinks this case is very weak.
Or in the opposite, it could be like the opposite, and he's desperate.
I mean, look, KB,
Yo,
look, at the end of the day, KB, right? Who am I gonna trust more, you or this Juice Crew lawyer that for sure is not cheap?
Yeah, I'm
I'm not
trusting
asking you to trust me.
I'm
Well,
trusting the
no,
Juice
you
Crew
don't have
lawyer.
to ask me that because you know that I know what you would do. You would let him do him, dude.
I would.
He's actually on instructions. Though. He can only go what Diddy says, can't he? If Diddy
see
says
the
it never
difference?
happened, it never happens. You got
You see the difference between these guys and those bow tie, black bow tie lawyers, man. These dudes be having their shit so together. Like
Man.
he didn't say or
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Right, they
One
stand on
time.
business.
And Pack, yo, this
Yeah.
shit is mad, bro. I'm kind of speechless right now, man. That shit was masterful, man. If I was Diddy watching this shit, I'm like, damn. And I know I'm getting the fuck up out of this joint.
No, I think he still fucked. Did he for sure fucked regardless? But I would trust this Juice Crew lawyer nonetheless. It's my best shot, dude.
But you have to admit, he put himself in if you're in a fucked up situation with the law, he did the best possible thing he could do. Get him a Juice Crew lawyer. Like that.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
the top.
Yeah.
He
Let's
put
be
himself in the
honest.
best position.
Let's be honest. Everyone here knows this, and the bottom of their heart. Even the fisherman would hire a Juice Crew lawyer if his ass depended on it. Right?
Exactly. You got to go to court with a juice. That's just how it is, man. You got to,
That's
man.
a fact. My entertainment lawyer do.
Yeah, I mean they when you're good at something, man, racism or race or what you feel about people or all that stuff kind of goes out the window, man. You just got to go with when your life is on the let's because we have to still admit like his life is on the line. Like if this goes bad, he might die in prison. So it's and in no way am I saying that he's 100% out of the woods. All I'm saying is before I saw that Juice Crew lawyer answer those, because those questions weren't scripted. CNN, like when they interview like a Democrat politician, yeah, they give them the answer.
Yeah.
But this was, I mean, he didn't know
She
what
was
he
trying to get him.
asked. Yeah. So it's like, and he flawlessly, and he seemed completely unconcerned about this. And we know that the feds will try to, they have a 98% what is it?
Conviction rate.
Conviction rate, yeah. But
conviction rate.
We do know that they will you can indict a ham sandwich. You know what I'm saying? You can indict a ham sandwich. So we'll see, man.
Well, I mean,
we'll see.
You said it before. I think what makes them good lawyers is they are smart anyway. They're very quick on their feet.
It's a verbal IQ.
Yeah, they're very shrewd.
Literally because they're good liars.
You know how the
They make
man
excellent comedians too. Excellent comedians and excellent writers and shit like that.
But you know how the Sun Man has like a good like mouthpiece. Like the Sun Man will fucking just they speak well. You know, like they're able to captivate an audience.
Charisma. It's more about charisma.
Listen, Sons make good lawyers too. Yeah, but it's in a different way. It's in a different it's like it's multiple ways.
More intelligent.
It's like Sons make good quarterbacks sometimes, but they ain't throwing from the pocket. I can tell you that.
Like if he taking off on you. Yeah, no, but the Juice Crew just like they're just more intelligent, you know?
Oh yeah.
And the fact that they're so good at go ahead.
No, I'm just saying they know how to play the game. Like I had a lawyer, and the case I had when we went to court the first time, after all the status hearings and all that stuff, but we went to court to try the case. I was gonna I was going to cop that day, but there was a brand new DA, a young DA, a young white girl who was fresh out of law school. And he said, we're going to ask for continuance today because we got this young DA fresh out of law school, and she's trying to make a name because he said he's been in the court buildings for dozens of times, right? Hundreds of times. He said she's going to try to make a name for herself. So we're going to ask for a continuance and see if the next time there's going to be another DA. Because on these cases, like, it's not the same DA every time. It's not like the movies, you know what I'm saying? It's like when you show up to court, whoever the DA is on duty that day, that's who does the case. So then he came at the next time. He did like 3 months later, and he didn't like the DA that the assistant district attorney had working cases that day. So he was like, we're gonna ask for a continuous again. And we got another continuous. And then when we finally got a district attorney that he knew, that was older, that he had history with, that he had, you know what I'm saying? Because he said sometimes you gotta give people like for instance, like if they got like a fucking degenerate fucking son man who's like out here, they'll throw him to the wolves. But then if they got a kid that, they feel like, because I had convinced my lawyer that I was a great kid and I just been set up, my friend, set me up and blah, blah, blah. I didn't tell my lawyer the truth. I didn't tell my lawyer that happened. I told him,
love to see that.
I was getting railroaded, you know what I'm saying? And I was getting, and this was all, and I was being, screwed over by the guy who had snitched on me. So he felt like, he was, he wanted to, help me not get my life thrown away. But anyway, the third time, he finally had a district attorney there that he knew that he had done many cases with, and he had, a good rapport with.
Yeah.
And we talked with that guy behind the, in the back room before we went up for the case, before we went in front of the judge. And the guy was like, okay, cool. We won't ask for X amount of years. We'll drop one charge because I had 3 counts, but when they dropped 1 count, it put me on a whole different guidelines, right? As where I wasn't facing, if with the 3 counts, I'm facing 10 years. Once you drop it to 1 count, now I'm facing a different amount of time. The lawyer was like, cool. The DA was like, cool. Everything. He's cool to everything. My lawyer said, yeah, don't worry. When we get in front of the judge, you know what I'm saying? I'll only ask for this much time and blah, 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 and everything you want, it's cool. Blah, blah, blah. We get in front of the judge. This motherfucker gets out there and he says, the defendant knowingly and willingly brought drugs into our state. He acted reprehensibly. I mean, he flipped the script on us in front of the judge, right? And I was shaking in my boots because the way he was talking about me after meeting with him 5 minutes earlier and him being like, everything is cool, don't worry about it. And he was talking about me like I was fucking Charles Manson in front of the judge.
Oh, Chapel?
But what he did was he dropped that 1 count, which put me in a different guidelines. Even though he talked about me like a dog and, you know what I'm saying, it made it seem like I was the worst person in the world, he still dropped that 1 count. So now I had, instead of 3 counts, facing this amount of time with the guidelines, I had 2 counts and I was facing this amount of time with the guidelines. So it's all games being played in these court buildings because you're not important. You're just one case. You think you're like, it's the biggest deal in the world for you, but your lawyer has a bunch of cases on his docket. That district attorney shows up that day and he's got all these cases on the docket. And then it's fucking 50 courtrooms in that fucking building. I mean, in that courthouse where all this shit is being played out all day long. And it's like you're just the one case in a big, you're one case in one day on one docket in one courtroom in one city in one state, and this shit is going on 1 billion times all over the fucking country that day. But it's games being played, and the Jews know how to play those games.
Man. I was gonna say I could be wrong
They
with
designed
this,
it.
Mike. I could be wrong with this, but I trust a Jewish crew to read case law twice. I don't know if I trust even a POC lawyer to do that. Even a glider lawyer,
Yeah.
maybe, you know?
Yeah, and to work the system too, like
Right,
relationships, man, friendships.
right.
Now I will say this: there are a lot of good black. I had a black lawyer who was a civil rights lawyer, and he was like a bodyguard for Dr. King back in the day. Gene Robinson, that was the Eugene Robinson on another case, and he got me off on that case too. So it's like I've had blacks can be good lawyers, but it's the same thing. Like I said, it's like Tom Brady versus Lamar Jackson. They both get the job done, but Tom Brady kind of just does it more smoother, and LeBron Jackson will give you a heart attack. You know, but he'll still win the game. But it's like, damn, bro.
But I mean, even like what Tiger or Juice Crew. Come on now.
I don't see a lot of Tiger lawyers. That's the thing. Like all the times I've been to court, I've mostly seen. You know who else is good lawyers? Italians, because Italians are very good talkers too. They very good lawyers. Italians, man.
Your boy Fortunato Perry out of Philly. Ew, he's a monster.
Wow. Yeah, it's all about being able to talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of good German lawyers. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, let's see what I think. I feel better about Diddy. I feel a lot better about his chances to get out of this. Not that I was rooting for him or anything, but I think he's in good hands.
I hope they cook him for what he did to Biggie and Tupac.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought it was completely over, but now I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think they're gonna reopen that.
Yeah, let's see what's going on. What else is going on, man?
Didn't R. Kelly have a son man lawyer, if I remember correctly?
I don't know. I can't remember.
He's a real pro-black.
Yeah, but yeah. Let's see.
Hey, real quick. Somebody asking for your Cash App, bro.
It's in the description box, yo. Oh yeah, hit the like button. Take the $5 challenge. Support the channel, guys. Hit the like button. Support the channel. Cash App is in the description box, man. Let's see. Oh, salute to my man. Yeah, salute.
They're saying check. They're saying check your Cash App, I think.
Yeah.
Yo,
okay,
also, if you're pro-black, also hit the link, please.
Oh God. Salute to my man Savage, man. Savage in the building. Savage is a Ock Nation Hall of Famer, a big supporter. Oh man, we got like 1,000 people in the back. Why you ain't telling me? Yeah, man.
Oh shit.
Salute, guys. What's going on, man?
Well, I agree with you, but I kind of disagree with you on the Puffy case. I think because of him being tied to the Tupac case, I think that's going to put a nail in his coffin.
But he's not being charged with that. You gotta also remember, like you're not liable for everything you've done in life. You're liable for what they're charging you with.
I agree.
Like for instance, this is one thing you gotta understand too. Like when you're in court, when you got a case, the prosecution has to give your lawyer the discovery. The discovery is every piece of evidence they're going to present in court. You know how, like in the movies, like somebody will just bust in the courtroom and be like, "I want to testify. I have new evidence," and it's just like, and then they just walk up and get on the stand. No, that's in real court. The prosecution has to give the defense every single piece of evidence. If they present something in court that they did not give first to the defense in the discovery, it's a mistrial.
It'd be inadmissible.
No. You can file a motion. Your lawyer can immediately say, I file a motion for a mistrial, and the judge can either be like yes or no, or with prejudice or whatever. But yeah, you can every piece of evidence they have against Diddy, everything they're charging with him, everything he's liable for in this particular case, a defense team was given by the prosecution.
Well, I'm a two-time felon. I know how the court system. I completely understand how the court system works. The attorneys haven't got discovery yet, but what I'm saying is they can easily. The fact that there was court documentation where someone testified or admitted to the state that somebody was hired by Diddy can be brought in. That's why when you were listening to that video, they talked about murders. So regardless of the situation, like even though the feds are they're like the defense is saying that there's a hole in their case, I just don't think it's going to go that way. I just don't. The feds have a crazy high closed rate of conviction, and then on top of it, you have too many civil cases where there's too much information, and then you also have cases of felony cases of people testifying. The likelihood of Diddy getting off or the likelihood that Diddy's innocent is very low in the court of law.
I agree. What I'm saying is, I feel better if I'm him, if I'm on his team. After hearing his lawyer talk, I feel much better than I did before hearing him talk. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's going to get off because, like you said, the Fed's got 98% conviction rate. So he got to be in that 2%. But the things he said about their case and the holes in their case, and the thing the lady said earlier about how they did it like a mob case, a mob indictment where they said instead of like a sexual like a crime, they did like a mob indictment. It seemed like they had to like work some shit to try to get an indictment on them. They had to like, cut and paste an indictment together on him. They couldn't just run in there and be like, look, he did this and he did that, you indicted. They had to like, finagle it. So it's on shaky ground. It's not on a solid foundation.
I don't disagree. I don't necessarily disagree, but again, when it comes down to discovery and it comes down to the indictment, those are two different ballparks. So just to get him indicted, it could be shaky, but they could be withholding information for the trial. It depends on the severity of what they like. It depends on the severity of what they're trying to do. If they're trying to give out the false notion that he can skate, they might be withholding all their cards until they get to discovery. We'll know more when we get to that point. He was just indicted yesterday or today, so like I think it's too early. Like regardless, if you pay any attorney $1 million or 500,000 or 10,000, they're gonna tell you probably have a good chance. That's their whole sale. So the attorney saying that they have a good case, I personally take with a grain of salt because every case I've ever lost, that attorney told me I had a pretty good chance of beating it.
Well, here's the thing too, though. Like, yes, they're gonna tell you that you got a chance so that you don't leave their office. They get you in the office. They say, yeah, you got a good chance. Now sign these papers and hand over that cash. Definitely, I got you with that. But he just was interviewed. He was grilled about it, and he answered all the questions. And from hearing his answers, like when they said they got 50 witnesses and victims, he said they only got one victim and 49 witnesses. Yo, that's I didn't know that before he talked to them before he did that interview. I thought they had a bunch of girls. They only got one girl. Now, of course, he did that to other girls, and maybe during the case, other girls will come forward. But as of right now, according to his lawyer, they got one girl. This is all hinging on one girl who was his girlfriend for 10 years.
I don't disagree, but you've been locked up. You've been locked up, correct, Doc?
Yeah.
Have you ever done with the feds?
No.
Yeah, so when you get locked up and go into the feds, everywhere you go, there's a sign that says, "Why do 10 when you can give it to a friend?" Like the feds legitimately are all about trying to put it in your bottom half with no lube.
Well, listen, DC is all federal. If you commit crimes in the District of Columbia, you go into the feds. So it's like we don't have a state prison. So it's like, yeah, I know a bunch of dudes that've been to the feds. Yes, I understand. I got you. It's he could. It's a great chance he's going to be in prison for a long time. But I feel better than I did before I saw the interview. If I'm his camp, that's all. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I can understand that. Like
Yeah.
legitly, I think that they probably had a weak case when they brought the indictment, because I honestly think that I personally think they're withholding charges. I think they're going to indict him with more charges prior to trial.
Well, we'll see, man. We shall see. Listen, this is moving fast. It's
Some
moving fast.
of these witnesses could have been co-conspirators, throwing him under the bus.
Yeah, I mean, look, once, like he said about the feds, once they, like those co-conspirators who are not indicted right now, they do not want to be indicted by the feds. So yeah, they may be like, all right, whatever you want me to do, because I don't want to get indicted with a group that has a 98% conviction rate. So yeah, if you're not indicted right now and they're working with you behind the scenes, like, yeah, give us information or do this, do that, most of those people are going to do that. Yes, I agree. He got a bunch of people that's going to fucking. He don't have no friends right now. I got you.
Well, I do. You could be right in the simple fact that he might be part of more powerful entities that are doing things, and he wasn't acting right. So there is the chance that if he acts right, these charges and stuff might fall off. But that just depends if you believe in conspiracy theories, or if you believe that the elitists are into some stuff. It could fall that way, but I'm just saying, based on like how the feds work, like I've seen guys catch Fed cases, and before trial they get hit with a bajillion felonies and get sank. So
Yeah.
I'm more willing to
he's in a
lean.
lot of trouble, man. He's in
Yeah.
a world of trouble. Like, he's in a world of trouble, but it seems like he's in good hands. He's got a good lawyer. So yeah, he's in a world of oh yeah, fisherman. If you was in trouble, like a world of trouble, would you hire a Juice Crew lawyer, man?
If I had to pick like
Of
an
course.
ethnicity to be my lawyer, then yeah.
Wait.
There
What?
you
What?
go.
What did you say? What did he say?
Wow.
Was that a yes or a no?
That was a yes.
Oh, my boys. Yeah, that's why I love the fish, man. He's a man.
Yeah, that was a yes.
You passed my test, fish. It
He's
is
a
what it is, bro.
he's a
Straight
pragmatist.
shooter.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Well, I mean, the thing about this though is that when Ghislaine Maxwell was indicted, her lawyer came out and gave some, boss ass response about this, that, and the third. They still nailed her. She still went to prison, and then they continued to argue even after she was found guilty, to the point where they actually ended up moving her to Florida, and then they moved her to like a spa like prison where you get free time and you can leave and bullshit like that. So
Yeah,
even if they do find him guilty, like a myriad of things could happen.
yeah, but the Epstein case is specifically different.
In Britain, Maxwell would have got 5 years at top whack.
Yeah, like so we don't have any evidence to prove that Diddy is as high level as the Epstein case. You also have to realize that when it comes down to foreign leaders and stuff, because there is evidence that foreign leaders were involved with Epstein. Like, as the government, do you really want to, like, would you rather blackmail your enemies into doing things that you want them to do, or allies of yours that you want to blackmail into taking the position that you want? Like, Epstein is a different level. We don't have any proof that Diddy is at that level yet.
No,
Yeah,
he's
these
not.
are
He's
just
not
freak
close.
offs. These are parties. These is parties. This is just some son man with a bunch of money being, a fucking degenerate,
Yeah,
debaucherous,
uh,
tight tyrant
uh,
and shit. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
This is a
Being
fiefdom.
a heathenist with money.
Yeah, he. This
Or
is not.
being a
Yeah, this is
typical
not
sun
my
man.
homie.
I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
go to bed now. I guess you're like,
All right, man. Yeah, this is.
But the shit about hiding cameras and putting cameras in every room in your house, like where the fuck do you think you learned that from?
R. Kelly.
But he's not being charged with that either, though. That's
But
the
I'm
thing. Like,
saying, like, if he operates like that, like
yeah,
he's not a nobody.
Yeah, but to be fair, that's common with people that have money. They do put cameras around their houses.
To blackmail people.
Not
That is true.
necessarily not necessarily to blackmail
Maybe,
people, but it is quite common with people that have money that they do put
But
cameras in all
but this
surfaces
one
of their
was to
house.
blackmail though, Savage. This was for the purpose of blackmailing.
we don't know that. Like
Yeah,
that's what they're
Nah,
accusing him of.
Yeah,
It's
it
implied.
sounds like
that's
it.
the
Come on,
allegation.
Chief. Come
yeah,
on,
Yeah,
Chief.
we're talking about when you're talking about just allegations and things like that. They have to prove that stuff. Like the, they they got work to do too. You
Well,
know what I'm
well,
saying?
fine. If you wanna go
the
through this whole glider court shit, fine. Yeah, whatever. But
yeah, but
real from man
the
to man.
argument that I'm making though is we don't have any evidence of any high level people being at these parties. There is evidence of princes other than the Prince of England being at Epstein. We have presidents at Epstein. So like I agree with you with what you're saying, but at the same time it's not, if you compare the two cases that we do have information on, they're not the same.
No, in their own right. I mean, they're unique to their own. To their own. But I mean, it still seems like he had cameras to blackmail people. It seems like who knows, right?
Yeah,
It,
but like I agree with you that he probably did do blackmailing, but what I'm telling you is when you end up building a $5 million house or a $7 million house, those people get cameras, and
right.
those people aren't necessarily blackmailing. The fact of it is that he was a degenerate that was doing nefarious things, and he's rich.
Oh, I got you. I get what
So
you're saying.
yeah, so like it's common for
He
people that
had
have
it.
money to put cameras in.
Yeah.
Him being a degenerate and blackmailing is not like a
It's not. It's not. They don't go
So
hand in hand.
so the
yeah, it
footage just
doesn't
fell
go
in his
hand in
lap,
hand.
right? If you're saying the footage is
Yeah.
exactly just fell. Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm an electrician by trade, so I do a lot of cameras and crazy amount of power in big houses. A lot of people that have money, they definitely put cameras in their house, outside
As
their
they
house.
should. I would. If I have a $5 million house, I'm surveilling the fuck out of that motherfucker.
shit, I
The
want to see
toilet
in
and
the
all,
oven.
huh? The shower too, huh?
Yeah, I'm throwing a. If I buy a box of cereal, I'm putting a camera on that motherfucker.
It's gonna be in the shower head. Camera in the shower head.
Well,
Yeah,
you also have to realize that a lot of these people that have money like that, they do have a, even if they're not do anything illegal, they still do have threats. There are people that still randomly show up at their house. Like there's a
Yeah,
lot of things that go on for being famous and rich. Like obviously
Yeah,
if you're a guy that works
extortion.
in as a plumber and you end up making a plumbing company and you become worth, $300 million, your average person isn't going to know that guy. But when you become a celebrity and you're in the public eye and you get money, you're more prone to have fans coming to your house, people trying to get record deals or people trying to get movie deals, or like you're more likely when you're in the public eye to have people come to you. So it is common for people that make a lot of money to get cameras. So like him having the cameras is not necessarily a drag on him.
But
The
do you know that
fact
they were saying that he was trying to get people to do stuff like sexually in his
No,
house?
I'm not disagreeing with you, but what I'm saying is someone said, well, he had cameras. Him having cameras is not an indicator that he was a piece of crap.
Right, but we're
Him
adding
trying to
to that.
blackmail people
But
is
we're
making
yeah.
adding
him
What
a
he
to
can
that.
scam.
do with the camera.
Yeah, I'm with Fisherman on this one.
He was
Like you
He
don't
was
greasing
drugging
have
them.
all these
cameras.
Done the shit.
celebrities bouncing around your house full of cameras
He
and you
shouldn't have
don't
done
get
the
dirt
shit
on
if he
people.
knew he
Scheme,
had people leaving and
blackmail,
he
make
had
it real.
cameras. He should
And
have
he's
never done it.
and he's drugging them. I mean, come on now.
When you say drugging them, like that could mean like yo, I'm giving
Don't
these
do
people.
Let's
that.
just say,
Don't do
let's just
that. Don't
say,
do that
No,
What do
shit,
he
you
bro.
mean? What you
was
mean?
doing
What
volume
did
drugs.
Don't do that shit, bro. You know what
what
I
the?
mean, bro.
I know what
enticing
you. I know
people.
what you mean.
We'll say
But
enticing people.
I'm just saying like this is the case that they're mounting against him, and they could be playing fast and loose with they were drugging us. I'm just trying to see it
Look,
from
look.
both sides.
No,
I
I
get
got you.
you,
I
but
got you.
yeah.
But you're doing this whole glider court system that we've seen.
Oh yeah, no,
It's too
no,
much. It's too
wicked.
much.
I think he's just doing a lot of shit they're accusing him of doing. So I'm with you on
Yeah.
that.
Right. That's
Well,
all
I
the
I'm
mean,
only
saying.
thing,
this is how the behind the scenes works in our pop culture, whether anybody
well,
wants to actually admit it or not.
the only
Right.
thing that
It damn sure does.
the things that hurt him is he says that this is common in Hollywood. That statement in his defense hurts him. Two, the fact that he also has a proffer where there's a person that says that he paid him to kill Tupac, that also hurts him. Like if this was just a random person that didn't have these two indicators on the case that he's involved in, I would say that the federal government is overstepping their bounds. They're just trying to make an example. They're on some malarkey. But with those two things involved, also when you look at the club shooting he had where Shine took the case, like
Yeah.
there shows a pattern of him doing stuff that is outside the law or accused of doing stuff outside the law that makes these accusations a little bit more credible than your average person.
Just remember, they did say murders were involved.
Pop, woman
It
shot.
is.
Who's to blame? Shine mother.
Well, you also have to realize that when Biggie got killed, he was about to release an album, and he had an album with Jay-Z that was supposed to come out after that was going to release him from his contract. So,
Yeah.
like, there's too much circumstantial evidence and too much things that are shady that are going
Yeah,
on.
but here's the thing about that. Here's the thing about that. Okay, so you say Diddy wanted to keep Biggie on his payroll, and because you got to remember, Biggie had his own company with Rivera. Biggie was not like just a. Biggie had his own artist. Biggie had his own entertainment. Entertainment was Biggie and that was their thing.
And
And
Lance, yeah.
he had his own publishing and all that stuff. Biggie wasn't like under Diddy. They just had Bad Boy put out Biggie's album. That was the only
Distribution.
they had. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly. They weren't like
I agree with
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
I agree with you. But the problem is when you have a contract and you're in a partnership with somebody and you die, they automatically get all rights to the thing that you have.
So you're saying that, but with the risk of
Yeah, we don't
killing
know the
him,
specifics
when he
of
only got one album left, like he only got one album left with you that he before the contract is over. So you're gonna risk killing him and ruining your career. It's just a lot to for one album. Now, if he had like 10 albums, then maybe. I mean, he had one album left.
Yeah, but
Biggie could
Yo,
do that.
you got some men that'll kill you over a sandwich.
yeah, but you have to
Right,
remember.
but not with that
With
much to
cheese.
lose.
Well, like I'm not saying that you're wrong, but you have the bodyguard of Biggie coming out and saying specifically that P. Diddy said to
Gene
him.
Deal, yeah, Gene Deal says a lot of stuff about Diddy. He made a career out of telling he. If you listen to Gene Deal, Diddy is an idiot who never did anything right, and we know that that's not true. You know, you don't get to where he's at and having never done anything right. So,
Right.
Well, you also know people that you've worked with or been around that the only reason that they were successful because of a favor. So, like, I'm not saying that Gene is
no, I don't.
100%.
Actually, I don't. Actually, people got to work. You got to work hard, man. Actually, I don't, man. You have to work hard.
I'm not
Just to be
disagreeing.
in position, just to be in that position.
I'm not disagreeing that people don't have to work hard, but look at the guy from Tyson that was the
Diddy
CEO,
had to
the
work hard.
CFO. He ended up getting caught in a random person's house, in her bed, and he got arrested for it. Like, nepotism does have negative consequences. That is possible.
Yeah,
It
but
doesn't
where's the
necessarily.
nepotism in that? There's no nepotism in that situation. Yeah, yeah, definitely, yes. Your
I'm
son, but this is not a nepotism situation. This is just two dudes in business. Like Diddy has a bunch of artists. Like Diddy, only time Diddy and Biggie hung out was when Biggie was dropping an album. When Biggie wasn't dropping an album, he didn't see Diddy. They wasn't hanging. They wasn't friends and shit.
I'm not saying that you're wrong, but what I'm saying is you have a outside source claiming something. You have multiple circumstantial evidence. So the fact of the matter is Diddy has owned the rights to Biggie's music longer than he was alive.
Right. I got you. But listen, that's a linear way of thinking about it. I think that like people get shot and killed. Rappers get killed. Rappers get shot. Biggie got killed. He got shot in the midst of all that beef. Do I think that it necessarily has to be like, oh, this big conspiracy because he was trying to get out of his contract, so I'm gonna pay these people to kill? I don't think it like that. I think it was just some nigga shit. I think all that Pac and Biggie stuff was just some nigga shit. And people can't believe that two great artists went out so bad. Like they went out sad. And people can't accept that. So they gotta attach all these conspiracy theories to it.
Well, I'm not saying you're wrong, but what I'm saying is Biggie and Tupac set the precedent of these rappers getting killed. You didn't have prior to them rappers getting killed all the time. You could be
Rap was
100%.
just in its infancy.
And that's not true. And that's not true because there were rappers getting killed all the time. You just didn't have the
Yeah, it's
internet.
quite a few. Big L, Scott LaRock.
Yeah,
Many
you
of
had rappers getting killed all the time. And also the internet makes everything seem like it's happening more. Like even the stories we do here, all that stuff was happening back in the day. All that stuff, the crime was worse in the 80s. The murder was worse in the 80s. But you only got to see your 6 o'clock news, and that was if you actually watched the 6 o'clock news.
Well, we can see it all now with the internet worldwide.
I'm not saying that you guys are wrong, but what I'm saying is when you hear that Tupac had, like, people thought that Sean had something to do with Tupac, and then now we're 30 years later, and it comes out that he did. Like, the fact of the matter is if we were in the 90s still,
I see what you're saying. Like,
that
what
argument, that
Yeah, what if
argument
it
would
came to that
hold,
conclusion? Yeah.
your argument would hold 100% more weight. But now the fact that we have a guy who is so like people suspected who was involved. Now we have a person testify, like not testifying, but speaking to a prosecutor saying that he was involved. Then we have that same guy being charged with trafficking and drugs and all sorts of stuff. It leads to more of what I'm saying is that this guy is willing to do bad things to preserve himself, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I'm 100% right or wasn't involved. There's a lot of evidence that shows that this man is a bad man, is what I'm trying to say. And
Yeah, it shows his character.
exactly, and that's my point. If you go back and look at the Lil Wayne interview where Diddy asked him about what he was telling new guys, and he said not to mess with these Diddy dudes because they're trying to get in your butt. Then you go and you look at Making the Band and how he talked and treated these dudes that were on that show. Like, there's so much evidence. The interview where he talked to Kevin Hart about him and Usher waking up in the same bed when Usher was a minor. When you look at the interviews with him and Justin Bieber where they're being recorded talking to each other, like, there's so much evidence that like is suspect. And then when you have
Yeah,
people
it
that
shows his
are
it shows his
convicted,
character.
like you have people that are dealing with the court system, and they're saying that this dude's involved. Shine, Keffi D or Keefe D or however you pronounce his name. The point that I'm making is I agree with you that the government could be trying to set this dude up, but there's a lot of evidence for the last 30 years that makes this dude look super guilty. Like,
Nobody said the government set him up.
well,
let me move along though. Let me move along, man.
Video, our 8 News Now.
Take the $5 challenge. Support the channel, guys. Support via PayPal, Cash App, with the Super Chat. Also, hit the damn like button, man.
Investigators obtained shows the moment a security officer fires at a stabbing suspect right on a busy casino floor. That man accused of slashing 2 employees before officers tackle him to the ground right inside Red Rock Resort.
8 News Now investigator David Charnes, the first reporter to identify that suspect. So, David, prosecutors say the video really just speaks for itself.
The surveillance videos appear to show 25-year-old Shane Sussman randomly attacking 2 employees before leading chase across the busy casino floor and then getting shot. Video the 8 News Now investigators obtained shows a man police say is 25-year-old Shane Sussman in the Red Rock Resort's hotel lobby. He's descending some stairs and he's armed with a knife. Sussman walks through a hallway nearing an employee-only area. Prosecutors say another angle shows him appearing to lie in wait, stumble around before charging at an employee standing near a door. The employee is stabbed several times, telling the grand jury he ran up out of nowhere. He growled like an animal, like he was a bear or something. Sussman then allegedly stabbed a second employee, with that man saying he said no words. He was just yelling like he had the devil inside him. Crime scene photos show the weapon and the aftermath in that hallway. Prosecutors say Sussman then calmly walked back to the casino. That night, the casino was hosting a concert, and at 1 a.m, additional officers remained on duty. A security officer telling the grand jury, "We were lucky by the grace of God and fortunate that we had this many officers on floor due to the concert." Less than 2 minutes after the initial attacks, officers find Sussman sitting outside a restaurant. Video shows him lunging at the group, then he takes off. An officer testifying, "We had to turn and backpedal and run for our lives. He was coming at us." The chase continues through the casino. An officer telling the grand jury, Sussman then spun around with the knife in hand in an attempt to slash him. Another officer then takes out his gun and fires. You can see that flash as we slow down the video. Sussman then falls to the ground as more officers pile onto him and take him into custody. Now, other documents say a security officer who was off duty at the time but was at the casino as just a regular customer says Sussman allegedly offered to sell him drugs in a restroom multiple times that night. He remains in custody on $500,000 bail right now. I'm David Charnes, 8 News Now.
By the way, the two employees survived the stabbing, but say their injuries have lasting impacts. And a memo sent to Red Rock staff after the incident said the team was, quote, shaken up by the violence.
At 4 o'clock tonight, we're getting new details about a shootout outside of a baby shower. This happening in Northeast Memphis. And we're seeing some of that footage of this disturbing video you can see behind me here. WRG's Jessica Knox talked with terrified witnesses who were there that day.
In this shopping center on Raleigh-LaGrange Road are businesses where families go to eat, celebrate, and get their hair done. Early Saturday evening, a shootout happened in this parking lot, causing many families to seek shelter.
I had all the clients get on the floor. We hurry up and locked the door, and we ran to the back and called 911.
This employee is too scared to reveal her identity, but says she remembers the shooting clearly.
We was working on the kid here.
She says the little girl had to be 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah, she was afraid. She was very afraid. She didn't even want to come out the back room to finish her hair because I was putting some beads on her hair, and she didn't want to come out the back room. This was like a first-time experience for her.
Take a look. Businesses in the area have cameras that were able to catch the shootout. You can see two men hanging out of a black Mustang and other men in the parking lot shooting at each other. A witness told police the shootout started at 5:15 Saturday evening after a car drove by Ladies Night Beauty Boutique where the baby shower was being held and started shooting.
It's about, I want to say 4 or 5.
Shooting up a baby shower, man. Knowing it's a bunch of kids and it's just, we different, man.
Just the low level degeneracy, no matter what.
And it was probably over, like something that was said. Like somebody said something, oh, for real, I'm going down there and shoot that bitch. Like, yeah. Putting so many people at risk. So many children at risk over probably words or somebody said something.
5 of them.
I mean, and everybody who's in any one of these businesses, standing, anybody driving in the street this way, that way, is at risk.
Yeah, I mean, people that shop there will think twice about going there, and then those businesses will fail.
Yeah, you got to think twice about going there, man. You got African hair, got too many hair places up there, man. Attracting black women, and then you got the thing about attracting black women is that you end up attracting black men, like Ladies Night Beauty Boutique. You got, I mean, it's a lot of shit here that's African hair braiding. It's so much
baby mama drama.
Yeah. Unless you got like a motherfucking like a bank there or something, or a grocery store that people like have to go to. If there's really no reason to go here, man.
I want to say 4 or 5 of them. We assume that since nobody was hurt, that they probably just wanted to disrupt the baby shower or scare.
Nobody was hurt.
Somebody in the baby shower.
MPD cannot confirm that, but according to this incident report, victims inside the baby shower refused to talk to officers. Officers tell us several cars in the parking lot were hit with bullets, and a family member inside suffered a stroke.
Refused to talk.
Was injured.
I come from a country where we experienced a 14-year civil war, and for me, it was very scary because I'm like, I didn't die there. I don't want to come and die here in America where I'm supposed to be free.
Reporting for your news leader in Northeast Memphis, I'm Jessica Knox, WREG News, Channel 3.
All right, a scary scene there. And after that shooting, 35-year-old Anthony Jackson, he was charged with being a convicted felon in possession of a handgun. However, he has not been charged with the shooting. The other people police believe are involved, they're still on the run.
She thought it was
out of a hospital in the district.
She thought it was a country problem, a Civil War problem, but she didn't realize it's a black problem.
Yeah, she never let herself realize that.
She still doesn't really. Yeah, she still seems to be like she would be offended if you told her that. Yeah.
And one of the key things that were said was that I don't know which business it was, but they didn't want to say anything. So, of course, aiding and abetting, not helping the police help you be more safe. Typical nigga shit.
Yep.
But nobody got hit, so fuck the police still.
I mean, the lady that was talking, she was acting like it really wasn't that big a deal. Like she stated she didn't think they were actually trying to hit anybody, that they were just trying to scare people in the baby shower as if it's not that big a deal that somebody's slinging bullets.
It was
at
her
a strip mall.
Multiple people just firing, and they're all like, look, firing like sunmen and shit. They all just
shooting sideways.
With his hand up in the air like he's fencing.
Ain't nobody die though.
I think you're right, Act, that some of your people don't really have empathy.
No, they don't. Like and then that right there is, you got to give them a break on that, because the frontal lobe, they don't have that frontal lobe.
Yeah, I really do think that's true. I don't think some people really have empathy, or they don't understand it.
That's a hard thing to say though, because
Oh yeah.
like
Act, you have someone up here last time that is denying the frontal lobe theory or fact.
DNA.
He did not hop in the panel ever again.
I mean, he
that's
came up
nice.
that time. Yeah.
That's like 99% of black people though.
Yeah. The frontal lobe is just like it's not only empathy, but it's a lot of different things that come from that frontal lobe, and when you don't got it, you just don't got it. Like it's nothing that can be done. Like now, maybe religion, devout religion, can like give you an external frontal lobe, or the fear of harsh punishments can give you an external frontal lobe, but if you ain't got it, you ain't got it.
And and people, when you describe a lot of traits that some people have, like if you didn't assign a race to it, like if you were to describe a certain person and be like, he has these traits, you would say that's a bad person. But
right.
That's an ugly thing to say, about a whole group of people.
Bad people. Yeah. No, a lot of some people are bad people. Like they are. Like most some people I know, some men that I know, one of their claims to fame is how many people they've hurt or wrong. Like having wronged somebody or fucked over somebody or physically hurt somebody gets you like a status amongst some men.
Yeah, the lack of caring about your fellow human is a badge of honor. Like your callousness towards the next man is
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not exclusive to blacks in the U.S. It's also, you can also hear that for someone.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Continent.
When
Yeah.
I was in this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
my bad.
I don't think anybody's saying that it's exclusive. We just saying that it's what's the word?
Prominent.
It's prominent, or it's part and parcel of being,
What I'm saying, it's not exclusive to Sunman in the U.S. It's also the same with Sunman from any part of the world in America and in Africa.
When I was in the streets, all my traps had a rule that you couldn't do any business with a Sunman over $50.
Damn. Holy shit. Wait, why though? Why though?
He already knew the outcome. He knew what that shit led
Well,
to. And we
I
most do.
live in
they
Ohio.
robbing?
I live in Ohio, so a lot of northeastern Ohio and Ohio is mixed. So like it's not segregated or anything like that. And anytime that if you're not white and you start making money, you're gonna get robbed. So it was just an order of business that they couldn't ask you for $5,000 worth of stuff, and then they show up and rob you for $5,000 worth of stuff.
Mm.
The only business you could do was outside of the trap, and it had to be $50 or less.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, some men are predators too. Like we you can see why like a lot of cultures would definitely not want some men around. Man, our predation is just natural. Like we don't even like.
It's not even. It's so
Yeah,
natural to us. Like,
Hey, so
Not even need to
you,
try.
yeah, you
so
don't have
Ak,
to. We don't even have to be trained to be like how you're.
so Ak, to hammer this point down from where I'm from. My traps were in Ravenna, Ohio, and back in the day, we were scared about stuff. We had a guy knock on our door in the middle of the day, and we didn't answer it. He came back with like 17 dudes at like 2 a.m. that same night, and I at the time when I was a criminal, I was moving like 10 a day of weed. So like,
£10.
Fees.
yeah, 10 pounds a day.
Okay.
Was you breaking it down, or you were just selling them? You
Wholesale.
were selling them whole. Oh,
So we would wholesale and we'd break it down.
mhm.
Like the 10 pounds a day was broken down, but we would take orders for whatever anyone needed. We supplied the whole city at that time.
Damn.
But the point, like the point that I'm making is like some random dude that no one knew showed up at the house because me, my brother, all the guys in my trap were white, and we lived like literally like 4 blocks from where the Suns were. So
Mm.
like, you know, the Suns get jealous. So like they showed up at one day deciding that they thought they were gonna try rob us. And, you know, white people where I live is considered to be soft.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't say for anywhere else, but
Well,
like
no,
where
how
I
is it in Philly? I don't know Philly. It's Philly because y'all got mob, right? Don't you got the mob in Philly?
we have the
It's
mob out
pretty
here.
much dismantled.
That's what I'm. It's not. They don't
But
really have like a huge presence.
we have a mob out here. My older cousin went to the feds twice in the 90s and the 2000s, once in the 90s and once in the 2000s for the mob. Cleveland mob and Youngstown mob are strong.
Yeah, if it's the mob, I can see Sons not wanting to go anywhere near that. But like, if you ain't affiliated like that, then Sons are gonna look at you like some food. To be honest.
Well, the crazy thing is I was affiliated with a black gang.
Oh
Like
shit.
I ran with the Bloods, but still the fact of the matter is that like we were becoming the big fish in the city that we were in. And like in Ravenna you have the avenues and you have Cleveland Road. So like the allotment is what's on Cleveland Road. They heard some white dudes had some shit coming in. They were all about it. Like 17 deep show up my house at 2 a.m. trying to knock on the door for us to answer. Clearly that didn't happen, and we clearly had, we had things to protect that, but we made a rule that anyone associated with our organization could not sell to blacks that were anything over
Smart move.
$50.
Smart. Very
Yeah,
smart move.
very
True.
smart. Yeah, very smart move, man. You just can't listen. You can't trust blacks, man. You can't trust them. Like I've been through it all with blacks selling weed and shit, man. And I'm black. It's just they just going they gonna steal your they gonna steal your shit. They gonna break into your shit. They gonna get like one thing about blacks too. They rob you in a myriad of ways. Like say you got like give you a round number. Let's say you got 10 dubs, because back in the day it wasn't 3/5, it was dubs and dimes, right? So you got 10 dubs, right? That's $200 you trying to make, whatever, blah blah blah. In the hood, you getting 15, and if you get 17, if a Southern man give you 17, that's big. So you getting 15s and 17s all day, right? So they robbing you like that anyway. You know what I'm saying? So you're not gonna get 200 off them 20 dubs ever in a million years selling weed in the Sun neighborhood. You ain't gonna get 10 people give you 20. You might get if you get 20, it's gonna be from your customers that work or your customers that ain't hood. You know what I'm saying? You know how everybody got customers that, you know what I'm saying, like old dudes that might work at the fucking post office, just want to get high, and they get their weed on payday. They might give you straight money, but then the hood niggas, listen, I
Yeah,
sold nicks, man, and niggas would give me $4 for a nick. Niggas ain't gonna give you. Niggas always gonna short you in the hood.
yeah.
Always.
Always looking for a deal.
Yeah, when I did my little hustling, my little fake hustling, niggas never had straight cash, bro. Never.
You
Never.
know, so when I was in the street, like honest to God, I didn't have that problem with blacks, but now that I'm an electrician, I have my own business. Like it's always black folks. They're always trying to negotiate for down prices. They're always trying to negotiate things. They're trying to find the loophole in the system to pay less. It's like,
Just
dude,
to one up you, in short, yeah.
it's like, dude, like you want your panel and your service changed. Like I have to pull permit. Like it's $4,000. Call any company you want. It's gonna be 6. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like just because like we've done business before doesn't mean I'm gonna give you a 40% discount. Like that. Like it's based on the material. Like I can't help you. Like
Right, you got overhead.
yeah. Like honest to God. Like if it like my 2 oldest sons are mixed. Like like I'm 35. When I was young, like I lived in Cleveland. I lived in the hood. I lived in the worst projects in Cleveland. I loved black people. Now that I'm 35, it's like, dude, I can't trust you. The majority of black folks don't like white folks. The majority of black folks that I deal with want to try to get over on you. It's like, dude, like you're really ruining this. Like the only time that you don't have this problem with blacks is if they're like super elite. Like if I go to some like male black doctor, if I tell him a price, he's not gonna question me. He's not gonna do some crazy stuff because I always bid $1,000 or $2,000 under what the market is because I'm just like I own a business, but I work for like I'm the only worker, so like I don't have the overhead that everyone else has. But if it's not some guy that went to college for 12 years, if it's just your random person that has a job, they're literally trying to do everything that they possibly can do to not pay like what it is. And I'm like, dude, like I'm sorry, but I
Yeah,
can't.
black people don't pay their bills either. Like black people. When I was younger, man, I would burn up a bank account, like get overdraft fees, and I would just go to another bank and start get another account, and then get overdraft fees and get the negative there, and then go to another bank and get another account. Black folk, and I did that with cell phones. I mean, black folk we don't pay our bills. Like paying bills it doesn't register with us the same way that it registers with other people, man. So I mean, you're gonna definitely have problems if you're dealing with black folk and doing business with black folk. Definitely.
Yeah, man.
Can
So
you check your Cash App?
Huh? Definitely, man. It'll
Can you
definitely help
check your
you.
Cash App for me?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
so
Well,
savage.
definitely.
So savage. Oh, go ahead. My fault.
No, go ahead.
So savage. Like, would you say you hate black people today, or What you think? It's everything.
Salute to you, bro. Salute to Savage again, man. Shout out to Savage. Savage is doing big things, man. Here's my thing. Here's my thing though about you saying that black folk you had like you were in the hood and black folk, you loved black folk back in those days. You were in the hood and you loved black folk. That all that time you was in the hood, a lot of times as a white boy, you get a lot of a white boy can get in the space where he get a lot of grace because you got different traits that blacks don't have. Like for instance, a white boy, niggas gonna like a white boy more than they like other niggas because the white boy has more stand up.
More trust above board.
Amongst niggas. Now, the white boy might be a piece of shit, but amongst niggas, he more stand up than niggas because niggas are not they don't get no credit for being stand up. You get credit for being grimy and shady. So it's like niggas probably gonna like the white boy who's in the hood because they're like, yeah, that's my man. You know what I'm saying? He a good person and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the white dude has to try harder. Like anytime that you're a white dude that's affiliated with blacks or part of a black gang, you get tried harder. So like you don't have the opportunity to be wishy-washy. Like you know, if some black dudes grew up in a neighborhood together and one dude was shaky on one situation, he's gonna get a pass because, you know, whatever was going on. But if you're a non-black dude in a black gang or in a black neighborhood, you're seen to be either some sort of evil person or weak. So anytime that you see a white dude in a black place that ends up rising to the level, majority of the time those dudes are super solid because they get tried way harder. Like when it comes to like out here in Ohio, because we're so mixed, you have gang initiations. The white dude's gonna get a gang initiation that's way more time than your average person because you have people in the gang that don't like white people, or you have people that think that white people are soft. So most of the time when you see a white dude that has elevated himself amongst black folks that's from the neighborhood or from the place they're from, they have been tried over and over and over again. So for the most part, they're stand-up people.
But here's the thing about that. I 1000% respect your testimony because you're a white dude. But niggas try niggas like a mother. I think that's kind of like a
that's a full-time job, man.
Yeah, like you gotta understand, as a nigga, your reputation is on the line in every interaction. Your whole shit, not a piece of it, not a portion of it. All your chips is pushed in. Like, for instance, let me just give you an example. Say me, Javon, Mystic, we go to the club. We getting dressed. We getting ready to go to the club. We go to the club. We standing in line. It's some other niggas there. They mean mugging or what you call ice grilling or whatnot. All our shit amongst each other is on the line. Like, if we don't handle that situation correct, man, you know, we was at the club, man, niggas was mean mugging, shorty was scared, blah, 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 blah. We get in the club. Now we in the club, we chilling. There's some hoes there, blah, blah, blah. Yo, let's go holler at them hoes. We go over there holler at the hoes. Javon, he ain't talking, he's scared. Cat got his tongue. Man, you know that bitch ass nigga Javon was scared, man. We had some hoes and it was like every interaction, your whole shit can get taken back to the review board and put on trial. You dig what I'm saying? It's not like, and your whole shit is on the line. Like, you a bitch or you a lame or da 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 da. For every little interaction, some men love telling everybody that you failed some test where they was out or while we was here or we was locked up, you failed this test. They love doing that. So it's like I get that white boys get tested a lot and shit, but niggas, man, we put each other through the ringer, my nigga. You heard me?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but are you affiliated with anything? You don't have to tell me what you're affiliated with if you are, but are you affiliated with
I mean,
anything?
I'm just a regular, we don't have gangs and stuff in DC, so I'm just a regular, local, you know what I'm saying, guy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so my experience is based on affiliation. So like inside the affiliation, you like what you're saying outside might be 100% true. Like I don't know, but inside the affiliation, anytime there was any sort of white person, because you're like 2% or 1%, you're getting sent on the crash out missions. You're being like you have another member that doesn't agree, like because the bylaws in like California say that you can't be white, and like obviously Ohio doesn't necessarily follow the exact same rules that like California or the original mother house follows.
See, yeah, oh, you talking about that? Like, I don't know anything about like that stuff,
Yeah.
like gangs and initiation and shit. I don't know anything about that, man. I'm just listening to you. I don't know. I ain't even gonna lie. I don't know nothing about that.
I just know Zopound, man. That's it.
Yeah, so like where I'm from and what I was doing, like I got tried the most because I was white. Now,
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm
could
sure.
that
I
could
should
that not necessarily be non-affiliated? I don't know because I've been affiliated for a long time, but yeah, like all the dudes that I knew that were scary, that were more scary than I was always like the one white dude that was around. It was never like I'm 35, so like the way things are now is not the way they were back when I was in the street. I've been out the street 10 years, but like back in the day, like white dudes got work, like we had to do work all the time. It was
You talking about
constant
shootings and shit like that, violence, or you talking about like what you talking about?
violence,
Work.
like
Stabbings.
crashing out, like you
Oh
like
damn.
if there was something had to be done that was going to risk you getting locked up or being injured, you were the first ones that had to put up with it because
So y'all was running. They had white boys running down on shit.
well, there wasn't many of us like in the set that I'm involved in. There was only like two of us, but like from the people that I know from around where I'm at, like it was like there were blacks that did stuff, but like if there was a white attached to it, they were had to be involved. Like you couldn't be white and not be involved in the crash out missions. Like when you listen to Chicago and like you listen to like what they do, you don't have very many whites that are popular from Chicago. Ohio is way more mixed. Like you have way more integration and mixing between
No, I got
cultures. So like there isn't a lot of whites, but there's more whites than like California or Chicago or other cities that have far more stricter rules. Cleveland is more laxed. Ohio, Akron, they're it's way more laxed. Like just like when you go to prison here, you don't have the segregation that you have like in the West Coast. So
that's
I
crazy.
yeah, like I like don't get me wrong, 1970s if you were a white dude, any form of criminal, you didn't house with blacks. But in 2020, you're not getting violated or you're not getting like
Raped and shit.
yeah, you're not getting any sort of maltreatment because they house you with a son. Like Ohio doesn't have that like very critical racial like line. Like one of my best friends is he's the GD and he's white. He's a general. He's white. Like we don't have the same rules out here, but if you are affiliated, you are more likely as a white person to be set up to go be sent out and do dumb stuff or
But here's my thing about sons. Sons don't do shot calling like that, man. You ain't gonna tell no son man what to do, man. And damn sure it's gonna be harder if you're a white boy. Like I get it, like gangs and shit, but I just know some men. Some men, it's hard to have a shot caller culture with some men, with hierarchies. Because some men, every little Indian in the hood can be a chief. Well, you saying where you from? Some men follow hierarchies and shit.
It's loosely like I'm not saying that it's like Larry Hoover back when he started his movement, but like there's like the best way to put it is like there's still the Wild West out here.
Yeah, you
But
ain't about to tell no son man what to do. I don't give a fuck who the fuck you is.
but it's not
son.
it's
Yeah.
not like Springfield, like where the Haitians are just running wild. Like there's somewhat organization going on out here, but
Yeah,
not.
but I mean, I think
It's not the
that
mob.
like hell no, it ain't nothing like them. Sons don't do structure. Anything that's structured, they don't do it well. And I don't give a fuck if they got rules, if they got a fucking pamphlet with all the fucking rules, and all that shit is just talk, window dressing. The way this shit operate is not gonna be like that. So I've been a son man all my life. Some men are chaotic. There's a chaos about the way we are, especially when we're together in groups. And there's a like there's a crash out nature to us. Like as far as like some man gonna fucking go to the club and throw his life away at the club. Some man go to a baby shower, throw his life away at the baby. It ain't. How can you have structure when nigga might go to a baby shower and just shoot the shit up over because somebody said something? You can't have structure amongst motherfuckers like that.
Too unpredictable.
That shit. Yeah, too unpredictable, too erratic, and plus too like gossipy. Like if you the leader, like so you the leader, right? Say you the leader of a Sun Man crew and shit, man. The second you know what I'm saying, you better be friendly, man. You can't be like a tyrant and shit. You gotta be friendly if you the leader, because it's like, man, that nigga, like a nigga just kill you. A nigga just kill your ass, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you gotta have son just kill your ass. They ain't not gonna respect your authority.
They don't respect rank.
Yeah,
It's not like, yo, this the boss. We couldn't do nothing. We wouldn't even think about doing certain things because he has this position. That's just that doesn't compute the son man. Anybody can get it.
Anybody can get it, and a lot of some men is that ain't the boss is tough as shit. Like you got young boys running around the neighborhood that's 15 and 16 that are completely unregulated by whatever OGs in the hood and shit. Whoever the OG is, that nigga has absolutely no pull or control over them young boys. You know what I'm saying? Them young boys is out here off the chain. Young black kids and the teen, what we call teens, they have OG and OG. What the fuck the fuck is some OG? Some old they call them old niggas. Old nigga is a slur in the black community. Man.
This old nigga think he running shit. Like fuck wrong with this nigga, dog.
Yeah, like I think that, man, maybe however y'all got it there, maybe that just like was like a miracle of space and
That's an
time that you
exception.
manipulated. Yeah, an aberration. Yeah.
Yeah, not to cut you off, but you don't. I don't think people ever sit back and wonder why there is no like Sunman version of Mexico, or like you got the El Chapo nigga that's really got shit on lock, got a whole fucking crazy ass huge operation.
What about Black Mafia family?
Then that shit get disbanded.
These black
Yeah,
mafia
that's the best I
families,
could come
like,
up with.
you gotta understand that, like BMF, that's still just a bunch of niggas. Like, it ain't like tight, like it ain't tight like that. Like, it's still some nigga that's dealing with a connect from Colombia or a connect from Mexico. The nigga ain't never the high top connect. The nigga always like getting his shit from somebody. He ain't the last line of the food
Yep.
chain ever. All
When
these movies about these black kingpins, these niggas was getting shit from niggas in their own fucking town and shit half the time. They was getting shit from some 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 higher drug dealer. Like, when you look at Sunman gangsters and shit, a lot of times, and Italians too, a lot of times these are just hoodlums, man. They just hoodlums that happened to rise. Somebody had to be the big dog. Somebody had to, like, take Rayful Evans, right, from DC. That nigga got locked up at 22. Okay, like, that shit ain't. You ain't talking about like no long ass. Like, these ain't like the old mobsters and shit sitting around and shit. Like, this nigga got that little run, that run they talk about with Rayful Edmonds and all that. He got locked up at 22. Shit was over at 22.
yeah, yeah, niggas good for like a nice. It's a couple niggas good for like a real crazy ass short little stretch where they really got shit cracking, but it's never on some super organized dynasty levels type shit.
Yeah, a lot of niggas that even got it like that, their whole squad is a bunch of niggas, and they they they, they getting shit on consignment and shit, and they balling, but they
No
still got to
structure,
go
no
back to
discipline.
somebody else and get some more keys and shit.
Yeah, if you think them niggas is balling like the big beaches and all that shit, imagine what the Connect doing. Like we don't think about that nigga.
Hmm. Yeah, they not supplying no these niggas is in the club every night, in the strip club every night. You can't run no international operation like that, being in the strip club or shooting dice at the dice game and shit. You gotta be above a lot of shit to run a real syndicate. You gotta be above a lot of bullshit.
You gotta
Meeting with people, you gotta have a certain type of decorum where motherfuckers gonna fuck with you and let you in certain rooms. A lot of rooms, I bet them Colombians, and them Cubans, they don't let niggas in certain rooms in the
it,
drug trade and shit.
it would be dumb if you just look at how niggas act. You wouldn't be a wise businessman to allow a sunman too deep into your shit.
Yeah. Listen, I'm a Sun man, and I give Sun men all the credit in the world for being tough, man. I don't I'm not sitting here saying Sun men is bitches or they soft or anything. That's not what they lacking. They not lacking that. They lacking honor and character and shit like that. But as far as like the toughness, they got that. But because they lack the honor and the character, and they a
Moral
lack of
fortitude.
discipline, yeah, the discipline, yeah, and all that stuff, they can't take advantage of their warrior's gene. The warrior gene that they got, is kind of like useless when going against other groups. When they as a group going against now as a
Unless you
son,
need a crash dummy.
yeah, mano a mano, a son man against another person 1-on-1. Yeah, he's a problem. But a son group against another group that's why everywhere there's Latinos, whether it's prison or the streets, niggas don't be wanting no problems. But if you put one son man versus one Latino in a room, that son man will put his thumb up that Latino butt. But it's like if you put a group of them together, it's another group. The Latinos will win 99 times out of 100.
Yep. Why you think niggas been saying, yo, we gotta come together, bro? Like for years and decades, because that's not us. That's not who we are as people.
Yeah, we don't have character. We don't have discipline. We don't have force of character.
An unarmed carjacking outside of a hospital in the district turned deadly. Well, now the victim's family is speaking out. News 4's Ariel Hickson reports they're asking for justice to be served.
That's right. 3 months later, and the Gaines family is still living in a nightmare. They asked News 4 to hide their faces for privacy.
It was just shocking, and we're still all in disbelief.
55-year-old Leslie Marie Gaines was getting dropped off outside the emergency room of MedStar Washington Hospital Center for a checkup when the unthinkable happened.
By the time I got to the hospital, my sister said somebody took the car with mommy in it.
22-year-old Kayla Brown was accused of stealing and then crashing the car with Gaines still in.
Like, look at this crime. This is the type of shit that sons do on the regular. Like, she could be in the gang. She could be part of the gang. She could be her house could be the stash house where y'all keep y'all guns at and shit. And she just did this goofy ass shit. You know what I'm saying?
This is like Grand Theft Auto type shit.
So now she locked up and shit on this shit, and she part of your organization. It just you can't do shit with sons, man.
My sister said somebody took the car with mommy in it.
22-year-old Kayla Brown was accused of stealing and then crashing the car with Gaines still inside. Gaines was pronounced dead following the crash.
Do you believe that the suspect killed her?
Yes.
Brown made a court appearance in early June, but prosecutors dropped the charges of felony murder and kidnapping because the medical examiner couldn't rule on the cause of death of the passenger.
So she gets to avoid she carjacked a woman who was being dropped off at the fucking hospital emergency room. She runs up, carjacks them right there, crashes the car with the lady inside. The lady dies, and they can't determine what killed her.
That's some juice crew shit right there.
And you might bump into this bitch at the grocery store.
Accused of stealing and then crashing the car with Gaines still inside. Gaines was pronounced dead following the crash.
Do you believe that the suspect killed her?
Yes.
Brown made a court appearance in early June, but prosecutors dropped the charges of felony murder and kidnapping because the medical examiner couldn't rule on the cause of death of the passenger.
That will be the only thing, is for us to have a medical examiner's report, find out what the cause of death is, so that additional charges can be filed within a timely manner.
The Gaines family has dealt with financial hardship following the death and even set up a GoFundMe for support. Now they just want justice to be served.
They said they can't prove kidnapping.
But technically she did get kidnapped from the hospital where she was supposed to be taking care. I feel like kidnapping should still be on the table.
Yes.
Until the autopsy come back, we'll know if it's murder.
The medical examiner still hasn't closed the case. The next court date is October 11th. In Hillcrest Heights, Ariel Hickson, News 4.
Well, the man accused of killing the brother of Memphis rapper Black Youngsta has died. Randy Ewing Jr. faced several charges, including voluntary manslaughter and being a felon in possession of a handgun. He was out on bond when he died yesterday, but the cause of his death remains a mystery tonight. Black Youngsta's brother, Tamanuel Benson, was shot to death in August of 2023. Police caught up with Ewing this past February.
A Memphis woman says thieves have made her feel totally unsafe in a place she's supposed to feel the most comfortable. We're talking about her home. These are the armed thieves who came to her house to steal her car while she and her wife slept inside. The thieves intimidating them with their guns, telling them not to come outside. Fox 13's Jeremy Pierre explains how this woman, who is a retired Memphis police officer, says the laws as they are written gives thieves the green light to steal.
My wife is in the house. Thank God that my godbaby was not here. She's normally here with me. She was at my mom's house. You know, it just hardens my heart, really. And it makes me just feel like there's no way out of this. The laws, we don't have stand your ground. We don't have anything to protect people, to protect their valuables.
This is what surveillance cameras captured, showing the moment two armed men walked onto Virginia Hannah's property to steal her car. According to Memphis police, the thieves stole her white Lexus LS200 from her home Wednesday morning. Police say the two men used an ignition reprogramming device to steal the car. Hannah, who is a retired Memphis police officer, says she's thankful to have been asleep because there is no telling what would have been done by these armed men.
But he looked at that camera and the way he looked at it and said, "You better not come outside." I knew he meant that. I knew that he meant if I was awake and I attempted to approach them in any way, he wasn't going to do nothing but start open fire on me, you know, and I'm in the house.
The former police officer says crimes like this that are happening right under the noses of homeowners are concerning because there is very little they can do to protect themselves in situations like this.
We want to protect those of you that want to stand your ground. I know everybody doesn't want to stand their ground, but there's some of us that's what we want to do. And if we want to do it, we should have the right to.
Ma'am, the problem is the weak legal system. She's talking about stand your ground. The problem is that all those niggas probably should have been under the jail 2 years ago, and they're still on the streets. That's the problem.
I mean, she lives in a community that's never going to fix itself. Her words are dead on arrival.
She didn't say nothing about the DA, nothing about the sentencing, nothing about that. She talking about stand your ground. You could have came out there and shot them niggas if you wanted to. What you mean? That ain't the problem.
She highlighted how violent they were, how prone to, like, they were going to just start shooting as soon as they saw her. So she's going to add that in, but not anything about the sentencing.
Because she probably feels if she thought that sentencing was a problem, she would have said it. But she probably on that Black Lives Matter shit. A lot of them play both sides. A lot of these black women, especially even if they're cops, as we see, even if they're district attorneys, like we just take black district attorneys, black female district attorneys, they're woke, and they're the fucking district attorney. So, like, yeah, her being a cop means nothing about her level of wokeness.
Yeah, we pay good money for our homes and our cars, and insurance because of what's going on in the area.
Hannah says she's gotten updates on where police have tracked her car. She even says she's received alerts of the thieves posting to social writing in her car.
I mean, if these young men were to apply themselves as hard as they apply themselves.
There you go. And she's a
cop. These young men.
No. She supposed to know damn well that these niggas, that there ain't no applying themselves with these niggas.
These young men just need a guiding hand.
There you go.
Apply themselves as hard as they apply themselves in the streets and to do wrong. And if they did that in the classroom, there's no telling where these young men could be.
What a twisted
Oh my god!
mind.
Like I said, this dead on arrival. Like her, and she's one of the better spoken ones in her community.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
if
And
only
she's
they
still a
applied
fucking
themselves.
dumbass.
If only they applied themselves, they would be astrophysicists
As
in the
if they
next
apply
5 years.
themselves in the streets. Like, come on.
Well, I mean, if you just let her talk, like if you were one on one with her and just let her talk, she would be hypocritical and talk in circles endlessly. But she would be so high on her own ass, you couldn't tell her nothing.
Yeah, correct.
The fact that she thinks little Sunmen who can't sit still for 5 minutes, who can't fucking read, who can't follow instructions, who can't show up on time, who can't respect boundaries, who can't respect time and space, who lived a life where they've created habits of doing everything opposite of what you need to do to be a good student. That they've hardened and calloused those habits into their personality. Like these some men walk the halls in school. They go to school, they smoking in the stairwell, they hanging out in the bathroom, they running from the custodian and the peace officer. If they go to class, it's just to fuck around and she's saying that if they applied themselves instantly, they would just have all these. They'd be like, nah, they don't work like that, man. These some
Yeah,
men can't
these
even.
are the same people that the only difference we have
What?
are skin color and nothing else.
You can't even get these some in a job, man. You can't get these some in a job because they can't show up on time. They can't show up on time. They can't. You can't. You
In
can't
Memphis,
get these
Jeremy Pierre,
some
Fox 13 News.
Yeah, guys, that's right. The assistant DA says that this case might be over, but the healing is just beginning for the victim. And there is some peace knowing that the three suspects will not be able to hurt an innocent person again while they are in DOC custody.
In all of the years that I've been a sex.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you good.
Yeah.
A Memphis woman says thieves
Is that a smash off?
have made her feel totally unsafe and
the wrong one in.
Yeah, guys, that's right. The assistant DA says that this case might be over, but the healing is just beginning for the victim. And there is some peace knowing that the three suspects will not be able to hurt an innocent person again while they are in DOC custody.
In all of the years that I've been a sex crimes prosecutor, this is one of the most heinous rapes that I have ever seen.
Arcavis Moore, Darius Evans, and Jacob Howard sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole, each convicted.
Now think about it. These niggas is doing life sentences for a rape where they probably didn't even bust a nut. And these are your gang members. These are niggas in your gang that you rely on. Hey man, we need you to hey man, we need you over here today. Da 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 da. These niggas just went out and raped some chick and got a life sentence.
Yeah, you ain't telling these dudes nothing.
Yeah, man. Especially if you're a white dude and you the white gang member and shit. You the white gang member. You ain't telling these niggas nothing, Jack.
Yeah, I mean the whole premise is like that can't nobody tell me nothing. I ain't no bitch. Like that's their whole identity.
And
Yeah,
part of why it's so twisted to me is like they pointed a gun in her face, told her they were going to kill her, and her reaction was, "Oh well, if you just apply yourself, maybe your problems will be solved." Like that reaction is just insane.
Well, that's a very female reaction. Women don't solve problems with violence. Like what
Point. It's
those
definitely a
little
feminine
fuckers
problem.
need is death to scare the shit, and inflicting death on somebody is an act of violence.
Or whipping. A
Visceral
whipping, like tied to
violence.
a post.
See, the thing about it, Ak, though, is like I 100% agree with you, but women can't take that. They can't bear seeing that, and women have the right to vote, so we're never going to have that.
Yeah.
Sentence them.
Good.
Sentence them to a night at Diddy house.
They have fun there. That'll be fun.
With
Shit,
lube and lotion included.
Chill.
Babe, with 10,000 bottles of baby oil. Have
Step to
fun.
the front. You just step through the front door and you just
You know what
slip
I'm
and
talking
hit your
about?
head from baby oil.
And then you get assaulted.
Diddy ain't fucking with them dudes. Diddy ain't assaulting them dudes. You crazy? They ain't the type of people Diddy assaulting, man. Diddy ain't got them under contract. Now, if Diddy had them under contract or something, it might be different. These free agents, man. Diddy wouldn't do nothing to these niggas, man. You crazy?
Darius got that
Of 3
hair
counts of
that he can
first-degree
pull on.
rape. To life in prison with the possibility of parole, each convicted of 3 counts of first-degree rape and 3 counts of forcible sodomy for what they did to a 21-year-old woman in December of 2022.
They came down to find some really intoxicated co-ed girls.
Cleveland County Assistant DA Meredith Harmon says the 3 rapists followed the visibly drunk victim from a bar on Campus Corner near OU in Norman.
They actually carried her further down into the alley where it was dark and where they could kind of hide behind an ice machine.
In that alley, the 3 men took turns sexually assaulting the victim.
We can't ever give back to her what has been taken from her, her sense of security, and what was
Now,
done to
like
her.
that right there, that's something that, like, yo, I can't say that niggas I was roll with wouldn't have did something like that. I can't say that. I can't say that this is something that's just out of the norm. Seeing some drunk girl and be like, oh, shorty, hey, what's up? You're stumbling. You know how when girls be drunk, they be fucked up. And just being like, hey, what's up? Hey, come on, man. Oh, shit, we got one, y'all. That shit just spiraling out of control. You know what I'm saying? I can see that. I can see me being in that situation. Like, oh,
Natural predator behavior.
I mean, that goes back to the lack of empathy. It's just not there.
no, I'm saying like shit.
Or
Just
lack of
it's
vagina for
out.
them.
No,
I mean,
it's
you see this girl, and what you're gonna do is probably gonna mess her up for the rest of her life. Who fucking cares? I want to get what I want. That's all
but
that
you're not
matters.
thinking about that it's gonna mess her up. You don't.
I know
Think
that's why I'm saying there is no empathy. It's just I want to get my dick wet. I'm gonna get my dick wet.
They probably think she enjoys it. They twisted.
Yeah.
they're drunk too. But here's the thing: when it's 3 Sun men, like it's hard to like say no to the mission. It's hard to turn. It's hard to be the one that's like, hey, I don't think we should do this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, you look like a bitch. It's like,
That's
oh,
hard to turn.
you're standing for something. You have morals. Like the whole idea is like I don't give a fuck about nothing.
Yeah, it's hard to turn that rape down when you with your homies.
Cock
and
blocking.
plus, what's the odds of you getting caught? Like, think about how did they get caught? Like, sons do shit all the time and don't get caught for it.
It's probably
Like,
They were
on some
bragging.
street camera.
Probably from the rape kit. They already had DNA in the system.
Yeah, bro. Probably so, yeah.
Where they could kind of hide behind an ice machine.
In that alley, the 3 men took turns sexually assaulting the victim.
We can't ever give back to her what has been taken from her, her sense of security, and what was done to her that night.
The crimes were caught on surveillance video, which Harmon says helped the jury easily convict.
None of them take responsibility for their actions. They're constantly shifting the blame to the victim the entire time. So no, they show no remorse. They take no responsibility.
She adds
Dang.
women should be able to safely walk alone at night and enjoy their lives freely.
No matter your level of intoxication, you have a right to be safe in public.
In Oklahoma, life with the possibility of parole means that they have to serve 38 and a quarter years in prison before they are eligible for parole for the suspect.
dang.
That means they will be in their 60s when they get.
So 38 years. And listen, these nothing was lost. Like, say if they didn't, let's just say this case got thrown out on the technicality, right? They would end up doing a long stretch for something else within a year or 2.
Like something violent.
Quarter years in prison before they are eligible for parole for the suspects. That means they will be in their 60s when they get to try to parole. Guys.
Damn.
Yeah, witnesses will certainly never forget what they saw. We spoke to the father of one of the victims, and he is going through it and then some tonight.
Young 19-year-old kid, Dodge Charger, hardworking. It's gonna be hard to limit that and tell a person, don't do. Hey man, I did this. I'm gonna live life, and I hated that he did it that way.
Julius Burks says it still feels like his son, 19-year-old Tavion Jackson Matthews, will pull up at home any moment. But his mind has been all over the place ever since learning Tavion and a woman around his age were both killed when his Dodge Charger slammed into this liquor store. It happened on Gratiot near Harper on Detroit's east side late Sunday night.
Great kid, man. If you got to know him, you'll sit back and you'll find him very funny and unique. He had his own little style. He'd do some little quirky thing where he'd take his two fingers and do that. And I'm like, where you get that from? He's like, hey, that's me, daddy. That was his little thing.
Oh, man.
I'm not trying to paint the picture.
Okay.
So it was very impressive.
Look at that car.
It looks like he got hit by like 2 trains and an airplane.
For real. That shit's a mess.
Racing, showing off.
Yeah, he had the shorty in the passenger seat, and he was trying to show out.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It killed her ass too.
God damn.
Just got it.
That joint is amazing.
Yeah, that's twisted metal. I don't know how you could mangle a car like that. That's impressive, man.
I mean, he was probably going like way over 100.
150?
There was a woman that had some medical emergency close to where I live that her car looked like that. She like slammed on the gas and hit a sign going like 120, and it looked like that.
Yeah, those Chargers get up too.
His age were both killed when his Dodge Charger slammed.
It's sad to say that he got caught up in the moment of living life.
Detroit police say the driver of a BMW pulled out in front of the Charger, prompting
Jesus Christ.
What a thing to say.
it to swerve into the store.
He got caught up with living life.
Doing 150. Like, come on, man. That thought never occurred to me.
He won't be slicking his eyebrows back anymore.
Shit. Wow, man. Shit.
He was a young man.
That would be a lot more common if it was
life,
just sons.
Man.
Like all these
Sad
traffic
to say
laws
that
don't mean shit.
He got caught up in.
Yeah, you're seeing that with the Haitians in Springfield. Them Haitians,
yeah, they don't give a fuck.
Crashing everything up there. But
is this true that for the Sun Man, living life is like having to decide whether or not to drive way too fast? Is that just living life?
yeah, living life is when you're young is making poor decisions. Yeah. There's an acceptance that as a son, when you're young, you're gonna make horrible decisions. The son's blame a lot of stuff on you. A lot of stuff.
As a son, man, you could blame like being a career criminal and being young. You just be like, yeah, I joined the gang and shot people because I was young.
Yeah. I mean, I was only 37. Shit, I didn't know.
I was young and shit.
And the moment of living life.
Detroit police say the driver of a BMW pulled out in front of the Charger, prompting it to swerve into the store. Witnesses in total shock.
I was
right. Look at that, man.
I mean, his car is like in 5. Like the whole frame is split in half.
How the fuck do you pull that off?
Like, where did he end up in all this? Like, where would he be?
He's gone.
Imagine
turned into mist.
Imagine like being the first responders. I wouldn't even want to see this nigga. If I pulled up and the car looked like that, I wouldn't even want to look at it. The motherfuckers in the
He's probably all over the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got ejected. He had to have gotten ejected from that car. Because they don't wear seatbelts like that. That's not cool. Like if she would have put her seatbelt on, he'd be like, "Yeah, What you think I can't drive? I said I
Lord.
can't drive.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. Nigga will say that.
Yeah. So it's like, yo, man, god damn, man. They probably got ejected and just like
Literally
They probably on
landed
the
on the
roof of
door.
that liquor store.
probably so, maybe. Fuck.
Total shock.
I was sitting in the car, and it happened so fast. The car came speeding and flew over my car, hit my car.
It looked like the car just flew through the air and split in half. And as people was in the car as it was flying, flew into the store. It's just a terrible thing.
Police say a third woman in her late teens was also in the
It's like Fast and the Furious.
car and survived. She's in the hospital now.
There's a third woman who was in the car survived.
Oh, that nigga had some
In
hoes with it.
half. And as people was in the car as it was flying, flew into the store. It's just a terrible thing.
Police say a third woman in her late teens was also in the car and survived. She's in the hospital now. Tavion's dad says it's hard to fathom how things could turn so tragic since his son was just celebrating the purchase of the Charger during a family dinner right before the crash. He had been working hard on a factory job while delivering for Uber Eats.
Went out with some friends, and I guess the situation from there just turned for the worse.
Police say this about the cause.
It's a
Say that
terrible
again.
situation. The vehicle was traveling way too fast, and the driver of the BMW was intoxicated. So we know that those two things combined, it's very deadly.
Julius says there's a painful
So the
lesson
other
in
driver
all
was
of this.
drunk.
But hopefully,
So it's their fault. That person is facing legal consequences because this son man did that when really, like, you could have not been drunk and this could have happened.
Right. So you got one son driving a BMW drunk, and then another one driving 100-something miles an hour, and they just do what happens in those scenarios.
Took a turn for the worse, like his dad said. No pun intended.
from my family's pain and torment, we can all learn from this as not just a family, but as a community. We can all come together from this and
oh my God,
possibly get the younger generation to see, sometimes it's best to just drive slow down.
We're getting a better look at the evidence
like
federal
Kanye said.
prosecutors
that nigga look
intend
like
to
Bobby
use at
Shmurda.
an upcoming murder
50
for
years.
Yeah, the dad.
Yeah.
We're getting a better look at the evidence federal prosecutors intend to use at an upcoming murder for hire trial in Mobile.
That's right. John McCarroll Jr. accused of trying to pay hitmen to kill a man in 2022. And our investigative reporter, Brendan Kirby, has been going through all the court records. He is joining us now in the studio with the latest.
Brendan, this involves a string of shootings that killed 2 innocent people and wounded several others.
We're finding out more about the evidence from a filing by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Evidence shouldn't be allowed at trial. There's a hearing scheduled in federal court on Wednesday. Federal prosecutors
Look at
say
that nigga.
Glock 21 is the weapon used in a November 2022 shooting at the Paparazzi Lounge that wounded 4 innocent people. Law enforcement officers
4 innocent people.
seized it the
Shitty ass
following
hitman.
January from the apartment of a friend of defendant Darius Rouser. Prosecutors say the .45 caliber weapon was equipped with an illegal device that converted it into a machine gun. They say on December 12, 2022, about 2 weeks after the shooting, Rouser sent several people a video of himself firing the weapon. A weapons expert concluded that the gun matches shell casings found after the paparazzi shooting. On the same day of that shooting, prosecutors say Rouser sent an Instagram message saying that he was in the club. Prosecutors say 2 days later, in an Instagram voice message, he says, "Bro, I just shot 4 folks in the club with 3 bullets." Rouser, according to a federal indictment, was trying to kill a man at the behest of John McCarroll Jr.
Nigga told all on
Prosecutors
himself.
also revealing evidence that they say ties Rouser to a fatal shooting in Mississippi in September 2022. Investigators say he and co-defendant Carmelo Dirks drove to D'Iberville in a stolen Nissan Altima that Rouser had spray painted black, and that Rouser fatally shot Nicholas Craig while trying to steal his car outside of the Scarlet Pearl Casino. Prosecutors say Rouser discussed the plan in Facebook messages, including his efforts to get black spray paint days before the shooting. The day after Craig's murder, prosecutors say Rouser messaged co-defendant Jamaris Pierce, "Let's trade till this die down, my gun hot. I can't get caught with it." Rouser is also accused of a shooting at the Walmart on the Interstate 65 Service Road on December 27, 2022. Prosecutors say Rouser and two others had gone to the store to buy a magnetic box that they intended to put a cell phone in order to put on the car of the man they were trying to kill. Prosecutors say Rouser's phone has evidence of a Google search for such a container. Prosecutors also say police found the getaway car, a stolen Kia Sorento with a broken steering column, near his home in Pritchard when they arrested him a week after the Walmart shooting. Police also seized the Glock pistol, an extended drum magazine, and a machine gun conversion device. Rouser's attorneys couldn't be reached for comment, but they argue in a court filing that social media posts shouldn't be allowed at trial because they can't be authenticated and are irrelevant. A judge will decide that. This case is set for trial next month. It's
Man,
expected to last 10 to 12.
Are you serious?
this shit like an open and shut case.
Social media can't be used because Twitter is racist.
That's one bad son, man, but it's a bunch of them, man. It's a bunch of them. Like how you gonna tell him what to do if you and he in the game?
Man, Mobile's crawling with them dudes.
Oh man, sorry to hear that.
That Walmart they showed, there's sons around there. They like to ask you if they can borrow your phone and then try to take shit out of your phone, or just take your phone and run off.
You're gonna borrow your phone and then they go to your Cash App and transfer all your money to the
Yeah.
If you anytime a son asks you something on the street, this is what you do. Say, brother, I'm good. And put your hand up, I'm good, and then keep on walking.
Yep, that's exactly what I do.
You entertain it. You don't entertain it. You don't let them.
I don't say anything.
Yeah, you don't even look at them. Like looking at sons is like an opening. Like I don't look at sons when I'm in public. And that's not even for any other reason. That's just like I'm like seeing a son is no big deal to me.
Won't even look at your wife. Ain't risking it.
Yes, looking at a son is just like, you know what I mean. I don't even pay attention to sons half the time, man.
It's blinding. The sun is blinding.
Exactly. I just keep it looking, man.
I could be looking at the ceiling tiles, the clouds.
I just be going where I'm going now. You know?
Just act like they don't even exist.
Yeah. Just do you. And most sons do the same thing though. Most sons do the same. Sons ain't friendly to each other like that. You know what I'm saying?
No.
You know what I'm saying? So like they mostly do the same thing too.
Yeah, we got that. Get the fuck away from me type vibe.
Yeah. Wary. Niggas is wary of each other, man.
Yeah, I'm always wary, man. I'm like, oh man. As soon as I see a couple niggas, I'm like, fuck.
Exactly.
Why they gotta be like here when I'm here? Like, god damn.
Exactly. Like,
Try to avoid them at all costs.
Yeah, sons don't like seeing other sons, man. Sons don't. Yeah, that's true, man. We which is a telltale sign like that. Like, yeah, that should tell you something, man. And they don't even like seeing each other, man. It's like trouble. You know, sons is the potentiality for trouble or some bullshit. Like just some shit that wouldn't happen unless they were there.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I have
Like,
a friend who is son, and he would always be really friendly and nice to, other son men he would meet around town. I always was kind of curious as to why, but now it makes more sense. He's trying to fight against that stigma.
there's
Yeah, man.
always some men like that. Awesome, man. I ain't gonna treat my brothers like that, man.
Yeah, yeah.
On that fucking fake good vibe shit. Man, that shit don't work, bro.
No.
I figured.
That shit don't ever work.
Yeah. I mean, don't be rude to son, man. Yeah, I'm not saying be rude to him. I'm saying just don't be him. No, just kind of like ignore him and shit. You know what I'm saying? Definitely ain't saying be rude to sons. That ain't sons quick to get an attitude. Sons take slights too. Little slights piss sons off more than big slights. You know what I'm
Like I
saying?
said, I play the
So
deaf card. I act like I can't speak or hear. Start using sign language with them. They be like, "Oh, my fault, homie, my fault." I get it all the time.
I had a buddy who he was kind of like a comedian dude. He was funny as shit, but he would it would be a lot of sons like on the main street that we lived there, and they would be bumming change and whatnot, and he would see them like when we walking down, they standing right there, in front of the store, and he would be like, "Hey brother, can I borrow $5?" And the dude would be like, "Oh no, I ain't got it." It would be funny as shit because he would ask the bum for some, but he would hit them with the shit first. But it would be so funny and shit because they would genuinely be like, they would genuinely answer. They'd be like, "Oh nah, brother, nah, brother, I ain't got it." You know what I'm saying? But it would stop them from asking him. It would be that shit would be so fucking funny, man.
As a son, man, it's kind of difficult trying to maintain that discipline around other sons. Cause these motherfuckers be staring at niggas, dog. You be like, God
Yeah,
damn, nigga, what the fuck is you looking at me like that for, dog? God damn.
that's one thing when I moved to this town. Like when I'm standing on the street and white people ride by, they don't look at you. Or if you in a car and white people are standing on the street, they don't be all up in your car. And I was like, wow. Cause sons, when a car ride by, sons is all up in it. Like,
Scoping.
not
For
even
real.
scoping. I'm talking about just being sons. Just it ain't even gotta be like even serious. They just up in your shit. When they driving by, they looking at you. You standing at the bus stop. They staring all in your eyes and shit from the car.
Bro, like mad eye contact. Like, why the fuck are we
Yeah.
all in each other? I don't want to be gazing in your eyes, bro. God damn.
It's a challenge, isn't it?
Bro, it's challenging as a son, man, because you be like, yo, like
It's almost
yo,
like
you know how
they're
many
actively
times under my
looking for.
breath I'm like, yo, what the fuck is this nigga looking at? Like, god damn.
Yeah. It's almost like they're actively looking for trouble.
Confrontation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
confrontation.
Yeah, they are. But sometimes they're not. They're just being sons. They're like not even thinking about it. They just googly and shit.
Automatic, yeah.
Yeah, they just do that shit, man.
They peeping.
Yeah, but white folk don't do that. White folk don't do that shit.
No, they never, bro, never. They do not do that. Other groups of people
Yeah.
I never notice. I look up and it's a glider just
Staring
like this nigga. I could tell this nigga been looking at me for a few seconds. And I look up and I see him notice that I'm looking at him and he doesn't turn away. Like that never
at-
happens.
Yeah, they like trying to
Very
see you gonna
strange.
turn away
Let me
first and shit.
let me ask. KB or Fish if they do that sometimes. Actively look for compensation. If
No, I
someone does
mean
them,
I think what it is discretion. You practice discretion.
or look the other way, right? If you don't want to get shot.
Yes, yeah. Sons do like put a lot of weight, unnecessary weight on inconsequential interactions. You know what I'm saying? Like the interaction with like a car at the stoplight, no, at the stoplight, and there's a bus stop right there, and like that's an inconsequential interaction. You're just waiting for the light to change, but the son in the car, he's up in your face when you standing at the bus stop.
Yep.
And he don't know you from a can of paint. And it's like that's an inconsequential action. Where it's like a son man who, like a tough son man, is gonna be looking back like, what the fuck you looking at? And that could be something. Something could happen right there between them two son men. But that's just every interaction, everything is fraught with unnecessary danger and angst.
Is that applicable act to urban son or even country sons? Do that.
Every son, all sons do
Every
that.
son.
All sons is, if you drive by, sons is gonna be all up in your car. If they right there. Period. All up in it.
Yeah, if you pull up on a block where some people live at and they just outside, them niggas' heads gonna be turned. You gonna notice their heads like moving with you. You gonna be looking at them and their heads gonna be. Say you in the car, you driving by, their heads gonna be turning as your car drive by you, just staring
Yeah.
at you the whole time.
Like like a Mona Lisa painting, right? Looking
Yep.
at you
Yeah.
all the way through.
Yeah, that's just how sons are, man. They it's just how we are, man. Salute everybody, man. Uh, great show, man. Same black time, same black channel. Out of here. Peace out.
Good night, everyone.
Salute, y'all.